Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're live.
Tweet out from DCP.
I already
We're
tweeted.
live?
Yeah, we're live. We're live now.
Oh, well, hello and welcome to the 78th episode of the DCP. It's a big patch.
Yeah, man.
And we have Datto and Triplewreck here to discuss it. No interviews because it's going to be a long podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, buckle up.
Buckle on in. I don't
Buckle
have
up, boys.
Buckle up for the
and girls.
podcast.
Okay, so, hey, Datto,
Yes, sir.
is it worth coming back for Destiny 2 for this patch?
All right, goodbye.
I had to get that one out
we
of the
hope
way.
to answer that question for you today.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you will answer
After
that
3 hours,
for
you may
yourself.
have an answer, but most likely not.
Most likely not. It's a question that you will ask yourself every day.
Why don't we just bump into it? Why don't we just get right into it, right? The
You'll
do
get
it.
ugly.
patch release Tuesday. It's the Go Fast update. A lot has changed. Do we want to go over the patch notes? I feel like we can talk
I think
about
we
the patch.
should. In
I don't know,
areas.
man. It's so long. Can we just talk about the patch and assume that people read
What's
the patch
good?
notes?
What's bad?
Well, I think
what's
I really
mediocre?
liked. I think we could talk about in general,
Yeah.
like kind of break it out through the patch
Okay.
notes.
Kind of
All right.
graze
just,
over
just
it.
to have some sort of like a guide as to some sort of we're gonna talk about this and then this instead of just
There you go.
okay, so what are we talking about? So
Yeah.
So Guardians got faster, but not actually their Twitch speed or their sprint speed, as Fallout actually explained in his video. If you guys didn't check out
Very
that
good
video, there's a
video.
really good video where he tested pre-patch sprint speed on every Guardian and post-patch sprint speed. But there were other things that make you a lot faster, specifically jumping. Your strafe speed, I believe, is a little faster. Your certain supers have a lot faster of a run speed. So there's a lot of things that do, in fact, make you faster, and Guardians seem to be moving around the map a lot faster. But your sprint speed remains the same. What do you guys think about the new faster, game? Let's talk about. Can we focus on Crucible at first, just because I feel like,
That's fine.
until May, I feel like the focus on these changes are really Crucible right now.
Mhm.
But there are some significant changes for PvE as well. What do you guys think?
I mean, I can start. For certain subclasses like Arc Strider and Dawnblade and stuff like that, it's nice. It's unexpected, especially considering that Arc Strider with Raid and Flux is probably the best PvE super in the game in terms of just pure damage output. Now they get to do even more damage, which is insane. The Dawnblade stuff is actually practical, which I like, because it's just all you need to do is just one burst and then you're just off to the races, right? You don't have to do any sort of complex button inputs or anything like that. You don't have to rebind anything. You can just double tap spacebar and you're just off, and that's great. For Titans, there was a way figured out to Titan skate, but it is only capable of happening on PC and only if you rebind your jump to your mouse.
Scroll wheel.
So console cannot do it yet. People have not figured out how to do it on console yet, because I just think
Nope.
you need to input it so quickly that you just can't do it on a controller or something like that.
Can you
So-
explain the process of how that works then? Like, what is causing that?
I actually don't know. I haven't.
It's
That was not
the-
part of my.
The new catapult jump has a significantly faster acceleration speed on the jump, but it also has more vertical stuff to it. But if you basically spam it faster than you can normally press the button, you end up activating it, deactivating it, activating it, deactivating it so quickly that you're only getting the momentum increase, really, not any of the vertical stuff. So you end up going so fast that you can slam into a
So
wall and die.
is it pressing it multiple times in a row, or just going jump?
Binding it to the
So-
scroll
jump.
wheel, Tefty.
Yeah. So what it was, Tefty, is I watched Cam and Cakes do this. Is he had the jump bound to the scroll wheel both forward and backward, and by rolling his mouse, his scroll wheel forward and backward, so it's clicking multiple times. Like a scroll wheel kind of clicks. It's clicking multiple times, both times, and every time he landed, he scrolled it one way and then he scrolled it the other way, so that he's hitting the jump button very, very quickly doing that.
But is that activating multiple jumps every time he lands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's getting.
It's almost like a
Basically,
rapid fire.
It's using up all 3 lifts like in like a split second.
Okay.
Faster than you can just.
So
press a
it's
button.
essentially pressing
And
it 6
that's
times.
what causes you to just like take off like a rocket.
Yeah.
Got it.
You're actually faster in D2 skating than D1
Right,
skating
right.
in terms of like acceleration, and
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I love all the movement stuff. I think it's great. I'm actually surprised that Bungie did this because I thought, okay, maybe they'll decrease time to kill, maybe they'll bring back the old weapon system, but like the movement, I was like, that was one of the biggest differences when I first played D2. I was like, wow, this is really slow. I'm not sure how I like it. I was willing to give it a shot, but I was I missed it. I hop on D1 every once in a while. I'm like, oh my gosh, the movement is just so much quicker. Everything, sliding, jumping, skating. So I give them full credit. This is a great move, and it inspires confidence going forward that they'll be able to make some other big changes based on community feedback.
I don't know if the Titan skate aspect was truly intended,
Yeah.
considering
Hey,
how
it's
you
like
need to
original Titan
finagle it. And yeah, so I
Some
I
of the
am
movement speed that
skeptical
is
it'll stay around.
the equivalent movement speed that we see in the super of the Dawnblade, that was intentional, right?
That was intentional, but you don't need to rebind your jump to your
No,
mouse
I understand-
wheel.
I understand
and
that,
all
but they-
that.
But this
Datto,
But
interestingly, though,
their whole like intentions behind it to really increase the movement speed. Like I appreciate
behind the whole
that.
patch.
Maybe they'll bring back the Dawnblade speed a little bit because you actually go so fast it's hard to control.
it is
But
almost hard to control.
and maybe they might tweak the skating a little bit because it should be able any player should be able to do it on any platform if it's going to be a thing.
That would be awesome.
That's what I'm saying with Titan skating specifically. Like all the other movement changes that they made are great. I'm just saying Titan skating specifically because you can only do it under such specific conditions.
Right.
They either need to make that accessible to everyone or they need to tone that back so it's not possible to just spin your mouse wheel and go a zillion.
Yeah, it
miles
doesn't
an hour.
I hope
sound
they
intended,
make it accessible
honestly.
to everybody. And according,
Right,
like,
exactly.
if you watch the new Bungie, like that's kind of their theory, or that's their running principle, right? Is like if players find something that's fun, embrace it, don't cut it out.
That's what I was.
I mean,
hoping,
if
yeah.
that's their
hoping
new
that they-
theory, then I'm hoping.
Well,
So what I
original
put out
D1
on
skating wasn't intended either. So
That's
true.
hopefully
But then
this
they,
is
like,
like
toned
okay,
it
keep
down.
it now. Don't get
Yeah.
rid of it.
But like their
What if
comments
they-
around the shoulder charge, where they're saying, we nerfed it.
Mhm.
We think that was a mistake. We want to embrace,
Yep.
what people enjoy doing, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to make you play the game the way we intend.
Mhm.
Like I'd like to see them embrace that with the Titan skating. It's like, okay, we see that players are in fact looking for this, and let's open it up for everybody.
And there's something that I enjoy about the way that Titan skating. I know it's the binding of it, and hopefully it makes it its way into the console. But the Dawnblade in particular is something you said about. I hope it's more controllable. I like the trade-off in the speed to control. Right, if you're going to be able to go that fast, it's almost like that there should be some risk associated to it, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's valid.
But I loved playing PvP with this new meta, the new speed. Obviously, I didn't get a whole lot of time to play it, so I definitely feel like I need more time. But can we talk about playlists? Can we talk
Can we talk about
Rumble?
Dawnblade just a little bit first? Because oh my god, it's so much fun.
Okay.
Watts got interrupted a little bit earlier. What were you
Sorry,
gonna
Watts,
say?
what's up?
Oh, I was gonna talk about just the speed in general. I would really love it if Titans could skate, Warlocks can surf, and Hunters had Bones of AO movement. Because if
Without
you're speeding
actually
up
having to.
without actually like having that be the default
Okay.
movement, because then we're moving towards everyone being speedy. Because the thing is that Hunters didn't have anything done to their jump,
Mhm.
right? So if you are speeding up everyone, Warlocks are getting fast, Titans get fast, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be. I think you would then have to look into Hunters just having that kind of movement.
It was surprising that Hunters feel pretty much the same as they did before the patch, aside from
Bungie
the
hates
Heartstrider
Hunters.
Super.
Besides
Well,
the arc staff, right?
I think part of it is that the hunter jump is just very simple in its execution, right?
Right.
It's either you get 2 jumps or one jumps higher, right? There's not these like complexities with, Titan skating where you can, start it and then sort of glide and then skip off the ground, and then, or with Warlock where you can do an early or late activation, sort of bounce off the ground and do all this other stuff. With hunters, it's just
You
jump.
jump.
and that's it. Like there's no other interactions. There's no other control with it. So I think that's part of the reason why hunters feel sort of dismissed is that their jump is just a jump. There's no
They
other
also don't have
intricacies.
blink.
The
That's
jump
part-
on the hunters though does something in PvP that none of the other jumps do, right? Is all the other jumps basically follow an arc that you can pretty easily track with a weapon, whereas the hunter is not only moving horizontally but also constantly changing vertical spaces every time you hit the jump button. So, if you have the stompies on, you can actually get so high with the stompies that you become very difficult to deal with, from below. And because you at any point can instantly change your vertical space, like you kind of have an advantage in PvP, I feel like.
I mean, hunter PvP right now is jump as high as you can, arc bolt, punch, move on. That's hunter PvP right now, as far as I could tell, doing PvP the past couple of days. So they do definitely have a huge advantage. They can jump over Fist of Havoc. I can be jumping towards someone in a Fist of Havoc. If they jump high enough, they can just completely avoid it. So I
and
think
the warlocks are also in the.
Does
in
Fist
that
of Havoc
aspect.
no longer
it has
have like
its
unlimited vertical
verticality
space?
is like completely neutered compared to Destiny 1. Destiny 1, it was literally just like from the sky down.
It was like a
Destiny 2,
column.
it's
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
like 10 feet off the ground.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Pope, go ahead.
I find myself missing a lot of warlocks and hunters because of that.
Mhm.
And I personally am one that feels like we should activate more of the vertical space in Destiny, including weapons, but definitely jumping, anything that makes us move away from just coming across a sight line around a corner with just our guns aimed down sight, looking down a single trajectory. I think that's boring. I want there to be the ability to be able to shoot from a jump, and I was a little disappointed that when I saw that it seemed like in the video that they were going to increase aim assist from jumping, and it was very narrow grouping of situations where aim assist would be improved. I think that the game could benefit quite a bit, especially in this meta, of increasing that aim assist while in air.
I would like that.
It's not even
I
increased
think-
aim assist. It's just your
Accuracy.
Your
Accuracy.
Actual
It's your accuracy.
Inner accuracies, yeah, that's a big thing.
I'm sorry. I like being able to hit your shots.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, we get it.
I think that's one of the frustrating things, because for the vast majority of Destiny 1, hand cannons had a intrinsic buff to inner accuracy, whereas all the other primaries had much lower inner accuracy. And they did add like the Icarus perk and whatever, but just like as a baseline, the very end of Destiny 1, they buffed all the non-hand cannon primaries to have better inner accuracy, and it was great. Everyone's like, finally, we can really utilize the vertical space. This is a game where, it's not like Gears of War, we're all just running around on one level. We want to use, the mobility of this game. And then D2, it's like they went all the way back, and the inner accuracy is much worse. So it's like, please give us those tools to, make cool plays and increase the the skill gap and the skill ceiling a little bit.
Well, they even said they didn't like that there was a skill gap with the inner accuracy, so they literally stated that they wanted to change that.
I'm sorry.
Like-
that was one of the
They got
most
rid of it, yeah.
upsetting things I have.
I know, right? You're like,
I
well,
know, I
this
agree with
game.
you. I completely
pushes the
agree.
skill gap a little high, so we decided to remove
I'm
inner
hoping
accuracy. It was like, what?
that's changed. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that outlook on PvP has changed now that they seem to have taken this step to let's just embrace what the community wants more. I'm hoping that they're not like, we want skill back to be as small as possible. Like, I'm hoping they really embrace that now.
Yeah.
Because that I was just like, what? You
Yeah,
made changes
I mean,
to PvP
it
to make
is-
it more competitive.
I
but then
completely get
Yeah.
it.
took it away.
don't want new players coming in and getting annihilated right away. But at the same time, it's frustrating as a veteran player to be constantly limited by things that you can't control. And in-air accuracy is one thing.
I would
Like,
just,
you could miss-
a lot of times these arguments get brought up, and like, I feel it's a mistake to try to like. I mean, I totally understand, right? It's like Bungie wants to protect players, and they don't want people to get on and be frustrated and quit. But like, the reality is, all the successful games understand that you need depth in your game. If everything is easy, if there can't be players better than you, if everything is watered down, then there's no sense of accomplishment, and you don't feel like you're earning anything. And then the reality is, the quote unquote casual is like a figment of, I feel, a lot of developers' imaginations. Most casuals are the same as the quote unquote hardcore, in that they still play to win, they still want to improve, they still appreciate knowing that whatever they accomplish is something that they earned, and they just probably just don't play as much in a lot of cases. So I feel like they're trying to protect like a type of player that doesn't really exist. And that's why, they implemented skill-based matchmaking. That's why the aerial accuracy was reduced, or that's why they, slowed down the time to kill so much. That's why you can hit max power from just doing patrols in Destiny 2, is because, they don't want to hurt players' feelings. They don't want to potentially hurt them. I think that's a mistake, because you need things to aspire to. And that's why I have so many people like, hey, guess what? I've been playing Fortnite and I'm terrible at it, and I'm having so much fun, and I'm getting better. I just don't see that same type of thing with D2.
There's also that thought that I don't really like people having, is we have to protect these new players, because if they get slapped around once, they're gone. It's like, you're severely underestimating people jumping into PvP. Like, most people are not going to
100%.
jump into game their first time and expect to be a god at the game. They're going to understand that they're probably not going to be very great, and they need to improve. And I don't know where this comes from.
There's other ways to do that too, to protect that brand new player, right? As Call of Duty used to have like that, like the first 5 levels you played, you only played people who were up in those first 5 levels, right?
Yeah.
And then once you graduated past those 5 levels, you probably played 10 games, you got more of a feeling of how the game works, and you get put into general matchmaking. So something like that is a much more, I think.
Right, exactly. A new player playlist where you can only play it up to like, a certain amount of time, and then you graduate to play, with the rest of the population, and a ranked mode where people can choose to go play people of their skill level. If you implement everything.
Do you remember in Halo, what was it, Halo 3, where you would start a new account, right?
Yeah.
The boosting accounts. So you'd start a new account, so it would be locked to the lower tiers, and then you'd take another experienced account and lose a bunch of games to it, and then that would rank you up to 50.
Yeah, well,
I mean, 4 games or 4 or 5 games.
You've seen like games like with really strict skill-based matchmaking fail, because people will literally just go in and reverse boost.
Yep,
So, like those go in and lose like 100 games in a row, and then they'll just farm for like 10 games, and they just rinse and repeat. And so it's like you're kind of like creating an almost toxic atmosphere in some senses. But if you have like a true rank mode, it's like, okay, great. I can see where I'm at. I can measure my improvement. I can play 4 things, and I think that would benefit this game a lot. But I don't want to put like the cart before the horse, because I think the gameplay really needs to, again, have more depth, and reward skill, and bring back not just I can go fast, but I can actually make those crazy power fantasy,
make those plays faster.
Make use of you going fast.
Yeah,
right? Because we still don't have that. We go fast, but we don't really kill fast unless it's a super or a power.
That was my biggest concern. I was like, okay, you're going to go faster in the Crucible, but that means that you can leave quicker as well. You already have a problem of trying to kill somebody, and then they're like, oh, I'm half health, dip around the corner, and then they're gone. Well, now that they can do that even faster with the faster speed.
See, I my argument for that is, yes, you can't kill people who are properly positioned around a corner, around a wall or something, but they also can't kill you. And I feel like that's something people maybe take for granted a little bit more than I think they should be doing, is you get the same advantages of being able to be properly positioned and ducking around a corner and all that. Would I prefer if people who are grossly out of position didn't have a chance to really get away? Yeah, I would. But I think I don't know. I think people kind of take for granted that they too can get out of positions quickly, and when things are a little more forgiving, it's not maybe as frustrating if you do have a tiny mistake where you can't get away. But I understand
I think that's the issue, is that being able to escape so easily just fundamentally reinforces a team shot meta.
Mhm.
And I've seen this because I've played a lot of Rumble. I've played more Destiny 2 in the last 2 days than I think I have in the last 5 months. And I've played up against some like good teams in 4v4, and I play a lot of Rumble. And the people that play to win, they play the exact same way. They turtle in the back, they play passively, and I just have to say that's not Destiny. Destiny is not a tactical shooter. It's not a tactical shooter. Stop trying to make it a tactical shooter. It's a game where you're trying to be a cosmic badass with space magic, so embrace that. And ever since year 2, Bungie has been nerfing our main weapons and keeping them far below everything else.
I mean, they did try and address this, right? Is that they did make some changes to primary weapons, but what they definitely did is they increased the amount of power weapon ammo that's available now. There's in every playlist, there's a ton of power weapon ammo. There's a lot more. Well, there's just a lot more of every type of power weapon, and that does that not address some of your concerns there?
Okay. I'm glad you bring that up because I
know exactly what you're going to say.
Let's talk about the power.
On one hand, I'll say this: like the game has overall improved in the amount of fun that you can have because you are getting the power weapons. You're getting power ammo more often. That's great, but it's still reinforcing a fundamental imbalance with the fact that only 2 people at any given time are going to have power ammo. The rest of the people don't, and they're just screwed. They're screwed because it results in coin flip checkmate scenarios where one person has power ammo or super and the other person doesn't. They're dead 9 times out of 10. That's not fun. Okay, if a game it feels unfair to that degree where you're constantly just I spawned the guy, hit me with a Legend of Acreus, that's frustrating. The difference is in Destiny 1, everyone had access to a powerful weapon which they could use to make a play at any time against a heavy, against someone with a great primary, someone with a shotgun, sniper, super. Doesn't matter. You were always in control. There was always potential. You're never down for the count. And I think that's the problem, because after, if you remember in Destiny 1, they kept messing with the special ammo economy to the point at the end it was just you spawn with it, but you lost special when you died, and so it was only like you would have to go pick it up from the ammo boxes. But then you just have snowball scenarios where people will get it, the other team will not have it. You just keep slaying them, and you're just stuck. You're just getting farmed. It's like that's just it's not fun, and it's not balanced.
For me, it's just the fact that it can the power ammo can be around at any moment now. Before, you used to have power ammo's coming. This is a situation where I need to pay attention. We need to see who's getting ammo where, and we can plan around they grabbed it here, so avoid that area or look out for this guy. Now it's happening what feels like all the time, and anyone can have it or not have it at any given moment, and you just have no idea.
Especially since if you die while you have it, you drop a brick. So also there's more than 2 people that have power ammo on the.
Exactly. So you just 3 or 4. You don't know how to play against certain people because anyone can have power at any time. Now in Destiny 1, anyone could have power at any time or a special weapon, but so could you. You knew that the access was pretty easy, but there were also good ways to fight against it. Yeah. Right now, it's very difficult. Try to fight against the Legend of Acreus. Just try.
How many shotgun fights do you have?
Try playing against 4 of them.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
just try to fight against the Legend of Acreus without your own Acreus. Oh, you want to try and super them? You can't even do that because they can still kill you through Arc Strider, Striker Titan, Defender. It doesn't matter. So
there's a disconnect here because 3 months ago everybody was saying we want more powerful weapons, we want more hero moments, we want more opportunities to take out a team, Like, where's the disconnect coming from? Because now we
I
have that.
think-
What's the disconnect?
I don't think we wanted that from our power ammo. I think we wanted our weapons to kill faster.
We wanted a faster time to kill.
Yeah, I don't think this is bad. I don't think the update is
Right.
bad. I just think it's a band-aid fix for a deeper problem, which needs to be addressed, which is one, time to kill, and two, the weapon system.
Can we all
Flat out.
can we all state that openly that we feel that this patch is a step at least in the right direction?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
definitely.
100%.
I've
I
had
mean, like,
more
if
fun in
I would say-
Destiny 2 than I have in a
trying to
long
state
time.
a fact.
For
Like where
PvE,
can we all
without
stand?
a doubt. For
Yeah.
PvE, without a doubt. Like
So-
PvP,
so
I still have
Datto,
qualifications,
Like
but
when I look at PvP, I really enjoyed myself. The only playlist that I did not enjoy myself when I played PvP since this patch has been Rumble. I felt
You
like
mean when you
Rumble
spawn
was-
and there's like someone's just a hard scoped on you? With
yeah,
a
Rumble was
sniper
pretty
and-
chaotic, and I think that needs to be looked at. But I really enjoyed the competitive playlist. I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical of the radar, not having a radar, and jumping into. I spent a lot of time in the competitive playlist, and it reminded me of some of my times in Call of Duty playing the hardcore playlist. It just had that feel, and I really enjoyed it. And all of a sudden, I was making call outs with my teammates, and we were watching. Instead of team firing, all four of us looking down one lane, you had to peel somebody off to look right or look behind you and cover your flank.
Because the radar's not going to do it for
Right.
you.
And so the game mode itself and removing the radar reduced that mechanic where it was just, all team fire, right?
I played a little bit solo Pope, and like it wasn't good solo because I was matched up with like randoms, and we were up against a full team, and there's just no way to compete because you don't have any information at all compared to the information that they have by communicating. So I don't think it's not a good place to go solo, right? And I don't think it's supposed to be a good place to go solo. It should be, it's a competitive playlist. It should be you get up together with your buddies and you go in and you try and get some hardcore teams. But I gotta say, I am surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Like I am surprised.
I didn't get enough time on it. I think I only played like 3 or 4 games of it.
We
Two of
played
them-
I think we played like 5 games in total.
Yeah, and like 2 of them were just like, oh, people left or just
Yeah.
whatever. I was kind of liking it, but I definitely would need to play more of it before I can come to a better conclusion.
Trials will be kind of a good look at it this weekend when people really dive into trials.
Mhm.
Yeah. My biggest problem with Rumble is like the spawns are just out of control.
They're
dumb.
terrible.
And
Yeah,
Bungie's
Rumble.
already acknowledged that, and that's fine. It doesn't help that on PC, I think every single game of Rumble, except for one that I have played on PC, there's been either a good PvP streamer in it. Like I had a game of Frostbolt. I saw a game where Anbu was getting in. I was like, nope, I'm getting out of that one. Wait 5 minutes. Or someone from like Solus or Destined. Every single game had one of those people, and I suck. So I'm never going to win. And just the spawn traps that you can get locked in are so insane, compounded by like power ammo. People, just one guy running around with the Legend of Acreus can just keep wiping the floor with you. So for me, like Rumble was just like, yeesh.
I think it's pretty simple what they have to do with Rumble. Take it down to 6 players, add a 3-second spawn delay, basically just like D1, and there you go. It's just a much better experience because I cannot. Rumble is like my favorite mode from D1. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Rumble's coming to D2. I'll have a mode that I can just go in and just kick back and enjoy. But the most fun I had in Rumble was the one game where there weren't enough players to fill it, and it was 6 players, and it was so much better. So, I'll spawn in. I'll be behind 2 people fighting each other. Boom, boom, 2 free kills. That's not.
Yes.
I'm not
It's-
earning any
it's
wins
luck of the
here.
draw.
It's literally a slot machine mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say is that if Bungie put Rumble into the game as is, and they didn't think the spawns were a problem when it was put into the game, then I have no idea what they were thinking.
Well, come on, Dad.
That's very true.
The community celebrated mayhem. Maybe they were like, "Hey, people like craziness. Let's make Rumble
this
crazy."
is like
But
spawning
this is
into
the
a
bad
guy.
kind of craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm gonna have to I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna say that the biggest issue is the spawns for sure.
Yeah.
And you can't even fight your way out of your spawn before somebody spawns in literally behind you. So you're going to engage in a fight and you take 5 steps out of your spawn, and then immediately somebody's
Spawn
behind
in
you.
the same spot.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's
just-
literally like
Also-
you're
You
either
have
gonna
You literally
shot-
have the same guy you just killed spawn
Right.
right next to you with an
Exactly. I had that
overshield,
happen
and you've
so
got your
many
health
times.
back.
Yes.
So many
Yeah.
times you would kill them, your health wouldn't regenerate fast enough, and they
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
the advantage on you because you're just
And
sitting
they
there
have
trying
an
to
And
regenerate
then,
your
and then
health.
you
as
spawn
well.
behind them, and then you kill
So
them.
there
and
is
then-
there is a
Insane.
question as to the play testing of it before it went out. I mean,
What's crazy though is
how could you-
that could have
how could you
been
play
that could have
that?
been spotted within just like I hopped on
within 2 minutes.
I hopped on and watched
2
some
minutes.
streams. Triple, I watched your stream and I was like, how did that pass?
It's like
How
I
does
just
that
don't
pass
know.
play test?
That's why I hope it launched with some sort of issue where there's like some spawning
It must
issue
be
with
a
the live
glitch
version of
or,
the
or
game.
a
Has to.
limitation or
Because
there's
if
no
it
way
launched
that 8
like that-
people in the play. There's no way 8 people like sober, people
Sober.
jumped
Uh,
in
I
there
have-
Played that
and
and
I
thought
have
those
a
spawns
couple-
were okay. No way.
I have a couple
There's
theories
no way.
on that.
Go for it.
First off, we all agreed like months ago that updates need to come out faster, and it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
clearly, there's a mistake
Fail
here,
fast.
Right.
and they've
that's
already
cool.
acknowledged it.
Yeah, they have. They have.
So
acknowledged.
okay,
That's fine.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
We're good.
Second part, I can totally see them seeing the popularity of something like Mayhem, of something like the Laser Trials weekend. They hinted to that in the little
the video.
vidoc that they put out.
Yeah.
There was a very much controlled chaos type thing going on there. So in this Rumble playlist, maybe that's what they thought. With these types of spawns, it's going to be a little bit chaotic. It's on a rotating playlist. So if people liked that type of mayhem, the type of chaos in a Rumble fashion, it might work. I think the resounding thing from the community is that it's not what they want Rumble to be. If we want mayhem, if we want chaos, we have mayhem for that. We have
Right.
maybe the upcoming 6v6 and Iron
Right.
Man.
And
Yeah,
I think it's
hold
also.
on. I think the fundamental problem though is that we're used to seeing these things drop and then waiting 3 to 6 months for them to get fixed. And
Yes.
that's
Right.
why the community
Yes.
reacts this way, is saying, how could you
Right.
screw it up right now? Now we're gonna have to live with this for 3 months. Come on. Because
So
Yeah.
if they were to
they're not-
patch it before Rumble
All right,
comes
yeah, but
back
you can't-
again, then
you
that would be
can't-
great, right?
Right. If
You
they had
can't
a
be
track
like,
record
"Hey,
of doing that.
you got to do stuff and do it big, and make mistakes, and then be like, I can't believe you fucking make a mistake.
but that's not big, Briar.
Come on,
That's not
but-
big.
That's not fair.
That's not big though. It's not a brand new game mode. It came from D1. They added 2 more people to it. Like the just like Triple said, the
they
ingredients
tried
were
capture
there
the flag.
already. They did not have to redo the cake. It was already baked. So that's why
This is why the community is so frustrated. It's not because they don't appreciate Bungie making some improvements here and there, but it's still under the premise of we are playing catch up to D1 still. That is why people are upset, because and
They gotta get
and
over
I
it,
understand it.
Triple. They gotta get over it.
Yeah, I don't.
No. And no, I agree. I'm just saying that is the overwhelming sense. That's the people's mindset, and it's difficult for them to come out of that, even if it's it's irrational to some degree. You have to give credit when credit is due, and like I said, movement stuff, great, love this. I think bring Rumble back, awesome. It is a sense of look at the past, look at all the roller coaster we've been on. Are we gonna have to wait till fall to have Rumble fixed? That's what's in the back
that's
of
a
people's
question.
mind.
That's a separate question, right? I hope we don't have to wait till fall to get Rumble fixed.
Yeah,
I
but people are
sincerely do, and I hope
conditioned
that
under their circumstances,
Exactly.
and
that's what we have come to
It's
expect.
just that's human nature, right?
Mhm.
And I want to see that change, but the onus is on Bungie to change that.
Yeah, I'm okay with Bungie making mistakes. That's fine. It's just we're so conditioned to having to wait several months before things are either acknowledged or fixed, or they're going to say something about like Rumble spawns. Something like that. Like it's just knowing that it's like, okay.
Well, I think it's important to that point, Datto. I think it's important to acknowledge that this would be a good opportunity for Bungie to show that they are responding to these changes in a quicker way, right? They've acknowledged quickly that Rumble was not, that there's a problem with the spawns, right?
Okay.
So how fast that patch gets made?
Next rotation, it has to see. We have to see it.
And
I would say it's rare to see something as unanimously agreed on too as no, it needs to be 6 people.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's something. I mean, obviously, we want to see some changes to some of the playlist, right? We've talked about Rumble for a bit. We talked a little bit about competitive, but I wanted to also hear your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think that we need to start seeing the individual playlists? Do you feel like people are quitting out? When in the games that you played, did you see people quitting out, or what was the times that you went into competitive with a teammate gone?
The only time I ever saw people leaving is if they got thrown into a game that was like 50-3. Like for the most part, people were staying in games. I mean, we had.
I think
Pat
Pope was
and I
talking
had
about
one game.
I think Pope was talking about competitive specifically.
Competitive. I mean, we didn't play enough. We had that one game where someone got error coded out right at the very start, and there's not much you can do about that.
I feel like we just need more time to give competitive a
our
look.
competitive games.
It needs a week of trials for people to see how it plays.
Yeah.
Yep.
There were some weapon changes too. What did you guys think about the overall weapon kind of pass? Like they're PvP and PvE separately. PvP, a lot of things kind of got buffed, and then PvE, a lot of things got buffed
across the board. But we should talk about PvP. Definitely. I want because I think the biggest thing is the lack of time to kill being really adjusted.
Well, it's interesting because they did buff pulse rifles, certain archetypes, and the outlier right now is the Vigilance Wing, which has the fastest time to kill. It's like 0.83 seconds if you get all the crits.
It is amazing.
And the all body shot, like the slowest time to kill, is still like just 3 bursts, so it's like 1.2 seconds or 1.3 seconds.
That's the
so
Destiny
that gun, that's the best gun in the game, the best primary, and it's going to be annoying because that's all anyone's going to use, but everything needs to go in that direction.
Yeah,
until we get the Storm.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting as well. I feel that the problem here is that the thing with the weapon system is that yes, you have 2 primaries, and there's an illusion of variety there, but it's not gameplay variety. It's just I'm having kind of basically similar gameplay experiences with a lot of these weapons, and you see that because how many people are actually running like a scout rifle and an auto rifle? No, they're running like one range weapon and a sidearm or an SMG. That's really the only setup that people are using, and you can't tell me that is creating more playstyle variety or gameplay variety than if I were to throw in like a fusion rifle or a shotgun or a sniper in its place. I think the Fighting Lion, ironically enough, even though it's kind of a troll weapon, you can achieve somewhat of the experience that you would get from D1. I've seen Cheek from Destiny Fun Police, go around with Sentinel and just hit him with it and then melee, and it's like, hey, that's the type of thing that you miss, being able to do burst damage. And again, go back to what we were talking about earlier, the individual empowerment of being able to take on 2 or 3 players, and if you are skilled enough to take them all out.
They didn't. It doesn't feel like they increased time to kill, like in general, but it does feel like they increased time to kill on weapons that kind of were sub-average, right? It's like they took the the top weapons like Uriel's Gift and tried to bring everything up to that point. And on that level, I really appreciate what they did there, because I feel like I can go into the Crucible with a pulse, a scout, a hand cannon, an auto rifle, a submachine gun, any gun in the game, and feel competitive. It's based upon my preference as a player and how I feel, as opposed to here's obviously the best fucking weapon in the game.
I mean, they said outright that they wanted, they were aiming for around a 1 second time to kill, and a lot of weapons now are competitive at that time frame, right? Every single archetype of pulse rifle is good now. Like, you can use anyone. I was using Relentless. I was using Inaugural Address. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, didn't think so because it's the raid one, and no one cares about Inaugural Address.
I just can't say the sound of it.
It's
No,
good.
it's good now.
It's really good.
It's really good.
So
It's got some of the best perks on there, Datto.
yeah, it's got Kill Clip and Outlaw.
It's
But
good.
it sounds like a kid's toy.
Yeah,
It
but
does sound like
you run it, and you win games. It's nice.
But it's still good. A lot of the pulses got brought up, which I really appreciate. Scouts were really hurting too. I haven't used scouts too often, but they're also, pretty solid. So I think with regards to what they sought out to achieve, which is that around 1 second time to kill, I think they achieved that. It's just not what the community is crazy about right now. Like, they're not clamoring for the 1 second. They're clamoring for like the 0.8, the 0.9 around there. And I think if they can achieve similar balance to what they have now, but bring down time to kill times to what people want, which is around that 0.8, 0.9, then I think we would be in good shape.
I mean, I feel like they've achieved something that they never did in Destiny 1. Is that they created and I do agree. I want the time to kill to be closer to 0.8 than it is now. But they've achieved something that they never achieved in Destiny 1, in that every weapon type is basically viable in the Crucible or in PvE. Yeah.
Since we're talking about weapons, do you want to talk about the TWAB where John Wisniewski talks about?
Let's wait and do the TWAB later.
The exotics.
Go through all the TWAB questions.
Yeah, we can do that later. That's fine.
I do want to talk about the PvE a little bit, because I mean, in PvE,
Feels really good.
The weapon pass has been pretty crazy. Like, everything, linear fusion rifles have gone from something that I don't even look at when I get them to something that now I'm looking at every perk on those things.
All two of them.
Pulse rifles are
Actually, 4 of them,
fantastic.
right?
Hand cannons feel
Oh
much
yeah,
better.
there's one from like Dead Orbit too.
I did a raid last night with the Midnight Coup, and once you get Rampage going on the Midnight Coup, you can one-shot basically any red bar in the raid. Submachine guns having more ammo feels way better. Submachine guns in PvE felt like, I mean, they were fun to use, but you ran out of ammo so fast that it was like, this is pointless. Submachine guns feel really fun. I saw your video today, Datto, of you using it in the raid lair, and just having a blast with the thing. Yeah. Like, I gotta say, they didn't hit the 0.8 KD that we were asking for, but they did a wonderful job of balancing.
Yeah. No, in PvE, I kind of echo the things that we've been saying about PvP too, where it feels like, I played a lot of PvP. I could use basically everything. I mean, I still suck as a player in PvP, but I didn't feel like I was at a huge disadvantage from whatever I was using. But just like that in PvE now, I don't feel like I'm forced to use Better Devils or Nameless Midnight as my primary, and like I can use basically whatever I want. And we went through the Nightfall with multiple loadouts. I went through with Fighting Lion and Antiope as my loadout for the Nightfall, and we still got like a 90k points on that. And I don't know, I just in PvE stuff still feels really good. Snipers, in my opinion, could still use a little bit more precision damage modifier, because missing with one of those, just it sucks. But I want to feel a little bit more, just a little bit, not a little
You
bit more.
still hit it. You just didn't hit
Yeah.
it perfectly.
Yeah.
Make it feel a little better.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot hit it with a linear
linear
fusion rifle, and your linear fusion rifle non-crit damage is going to be double that of a sniper.
Yeah.
Granted, it takes a little bit longer to fire, but you're still getting the value on a per shot basis way more than you're getting the value from a sniper.
Yep.
Yeah, PvE felt really good. Going through, just in general, playing, felt like I was putting out more damage, more weapons were interesting to use. And the linear fusion rifle definitely stood out. It was like, this is
The
a
raid-
lot of fun to use.
Mm-hmm.
The raid's more fun, I think, because you have more options. Doing the Nightfall this week, we also got, the Nightfall loot, so a lot of people are motivated to go into the Nightfall. That feels like a lot more fun because now I'm really, like, I've got a ton more options available to me. It's not just like which auto rifle has arc burn on it today. It's, like, how do I want to approach this Nightfall? Do I want to be doing it from long range with a pulse rifle? Do I want to do it, at close range with a submachine gun? Do I want to use Acreus? I don't know. I like where they're at with PvE right now. It's a lot more fun. I'd like to see them rebalance stuff like that in PvE every so often, just to switch things up.
It actually makes me pretty excited for what they want the prestige raids to be in the May DLC, right? They said they want to do this custom loadout raids. At first I was dreading it because I was like, oh great, can't wait for the sidearm linear fusion run that we have to do where all these weapons suck and we're gonna have to jump through a bunch of hoops. But now everything's pretty good.
They made
so
it viable.
I'm a little more excited to see how we end up, tackling these prestige raid challenges and stuff like that. So
The
I
one thing
would
I
like
will
to
say. You go ahead, Triple.
No, I just wanted to just say that the prestige raid challenges I think is a stroke of genius, and I want to just say that's something where Destiny is progressing as a series. It's not just this is from D1, and I think it's important to say that, and I appreciate that. As someone who is not great at PvE, but I do enjoy it, I'm looking forward to that.
It's another evolutional step to the strike scoring, right? It's like it's got the risk of a year one Nightfall, which I think a lot of missed in year 2 and 3, but it's also got that scoring mechanic, which kind of keeps you moving forward and puts some urgency on it.
The one thing I will say about the balance is if you're the type of like hyper competitive person, the weapon changes, like they took that, like Dad and I were talking about this, they took the perks that are really good and made them even better, and so there's still, for the most part, a lot of weapons that just don't have good perks.
Yeah.
Because the kill clip, rampage, glass half full type things, all those perks basically got even better. And
you're gonna use
auto
kill clip
reloader
over
just-
grave robber.
Right?
Get out of
Yeah.
my face.
Melee dudes, get my ammo back.
Oh, also Dragonfly is amazing now.
Yes, that was
It's,
a good
it's
change.
nicer. It's nicer.
Yeah, the visual,
Definitely
the
a lot
visual
better
upgrade.
than it was.
Yeah, visual
It
upgrade and
actually
actual does damage. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. I actually decided to look for weapons that had Firefly and check them out. Did
Did you guys get the sniper?
Yes.
I have not gotten it.
Not
I've
yet.
done 9 runs. Haven't gotten it.
9 runs?
how many runs did
What
it
do you
take
think,
you back?
Datto, what do you think about that? Are you okay with doing 9 runs and not getting it?
It's fine. But that's just because of how the weapon and progression system works right now. Like, if I don't get the Nightfall sniper that I know I'm never going to use in PvE, I'm okay with it. Like, if it was something where if I got a really high score, the power level of the item would correlate to the score that I got, then I would be like, oh, I really want this, because if we get a 160 on Pyramidion, it's like, oh, that sniper might be like 375 or something like that. But because it doesn't really, it doesn't do a whole lot for me right now, so I just don't care too much. I just kind of wanted to try it out in PvP because people have said it's good in PvP, and maybe I'll make a video on it. But otherwise, I'm not. I'm not too torn up about it.
Yeah, Pat, you got
Patrick,
it.
have you used it in PvP yet?
I haven't. I got it after we were doing all our PvP runs, so I haven't had a chance. CC Kun was using it, and I haven't seen that man enjoy PvP, except yesterday. He started using the sniper, and he was thoroughly enjoying PvP.
Is it better or worse than the Maxim from New Monarchy?
It's better. It's better in my opinion. Both have snapshots, so they're pretty snappy, but it comes down to like high impact damage. You don't feel as punished for missing a headshot because the body shot damage is still really high. It's definitely a good weapon. I got mine on the 4th run, I believe it was, of the Nightfall. I know Datto.
Nice.
It's like you're like, oh, I didn't get in like 9 runs and whatever. It's like, to be fair, you also got the
I mean,
raid ghost on the very first run.
This that's true. I did get 2 raid ghosts in four raids, but
Yeah.
This just kind of exacerbates the issue from random rules from Destiny 1 and how I thought it was a terrible grind, because my grind is still going for the Nightfall Sniper. I have done 9 runs of it, so I've spent 2-3 hours in there trying to grind for it. Some people got it on the first run and they were done. An RNG grind like that does not make me excited. It's just random when you're done. There's no steady progression towards the thing. It's just you're at 0 and then you're at 100. And there's no in between. And that's something that drove me mad about people saying, oh, random rolls grind was so good. It's like,
No, it wasn't.
To clarify,
it wasn't
Datto,
good. It was just all you had.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you be happier if there was like 4 weapons in there, or like just to
I would be
clarify?
happier if the better I did, the more powerful I became.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what I
you
would
would
like.
potentially hurt people's
160,000,
feelings.
You got a sniper rifle that was,
Bad
had
for
higher
them.
impact.
Yeah, like if I get 100,000 on the Nightfall and the weapon drops, it drops at 300. Now let's say I get 110,000. Now it's dropping at 305. Oh, the cap is raised. I get 150,000. Now it's dropping at 350. And just you have the steady progression of being able to get stronger and stronger. That's what I would like. But that's also partly because what I'm used to.
So I hear what you're saying, Datto, and I agree that like I don't like the binary RNG either. People say like, "Oh, you didn't get after 9 runs." Like, what the hell? You don't want to grind? What is this? It's like that's not the grind that we're looking for. We're not looking for an on-off switch on a loot. We're looking for steady progression of feeling like we're becoming more powerful.
Working
And
towards.
I don't necessarily think that the power level is either the thing that we should be working towards. It's kind of like in Monster Hunter World where you're actively collecting parts to get better builds to do end game content a little bit better. So you can feel like there's a measurement towards being able to take out things in the PvE environments measurably better because you've grinded and you've collected more rewards and so on and so forth. And that's the problem with this as a grind.
How would you achieve
it's very
that
hollow.
in Destiny?
Well, I think that's a great point. And
Mods
I just wanted to
2.0.
add that I think there's a couple ways they can go with loot to try to add some depth and progression. One way is like, you can slot perks or attachments or whatever you want to call it into your weapon, so you're steadily making it better over time until it's yours. Like this is my better devils, right? And that can be something that takes time, but because you're earning it, you do feel good about it, and then it's powerful because you had specific perks in mind, you had a specific build, and then you did it, and then hey, you can go do the same thing with that same gun in a completely different way. Or if you want to go like something more similar to D1, you could just have you could have random rolls, but you could reforge your weapon like maybe a set amount of times, like 5 times or something, and then it's depleted.
Yeah.
And then you have to get another drop, and then you can reforge it 5 more times or something. Or you could just do like 1 for 1, infuse 1 better devils into your existing one, and then it resets the roll. Like I think anything in any of those directions I'll be happy with, because like the issue with set rolls is that there's not enough of them.
It's one
if
and
there
done.
Were like if there were a million guns in D2 and they were all basically variations of one another, then it would essentially be the same thing as D1. But it would just be, okay, I know that gun has that specific role. That's the one I'm looking for. But I agree. I think that's inferior to something where you feel like there's a sense of progression. And hopefully, I think the mod system in theory, is good. It's just it wasn't implemented well initially. And to your other point, in PvE, you never feel like you're getting more powerful. You just feel like you're getting less weak. And I want to feel like I can go back to that mission that I struggled on and just destroy because I'm so much stronger now.
Yeah, exactly. The grind, like if there is nothing in place for these weapons to get more powerful with subsequent drops, then we need to go back to random rolls. I've said in the past, and I'll say it again. random rolls helped with that because there was nothing in place. If they do put something in place, like I said, like some sort of way to get the base model of the gun and then build upon that further, then that would really be an evolution of the grind that we all would be super excited about. Because I would love to get a Better Devils and be like, this is the base model Better Devils. If you just bought the game and you got the Better Devils, well, then you're on the playing field now. But you could then see somebody who put like 100 hours into their Better Devils, they got enough kills to unlock whatever kind of mod slot, and then that mod slot required another, raid completion type of scenario to be able to unlock the adjacent slot for it to be some sort of extra special type of thing, and be able to put that stuff in. All the while, it doesn't have to be functional in PvP, because we do want a balanced PvP, but we want to feel powerful in PvE, and we want to feel invested. So when you look at my Better Devils or my Midnight Coup, you're like, damn, how did you do that? Well, it's a process.
I put 1,000 hours into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they already had, they already had.
I've been saying that from the beginning.
The Husk of the Pit in D1. You got the
That's right.
white auto rifle, and
Yeah,
it was a
upgraded
set weapon that progressed, but it's that idea of like, oh, I could get like a green Better Devils, and then I'm putting time into it. Eventually, becomes like an exotic. I don't know, but I love that idea. If they can go in that direction, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. And Monster Hunter World also proves that it doesn't have to have random rolls in a game for it to be interesting for people to want to hunt that loot. It can absolutely be set rolls. It's just they have to set up the pathway for people to take the loot that you earn and then make it yours. Because right now, I don't have that sniper. But as soon as I get that sniper, that's it. I got the sniper.
That's right.
It's done.
Right?
And,
You'll never
and
do
it doesn't
this,
matter
this
what gun you
Nightfall
have.
again.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the armor and gun that you have. It's just, which kind of bothers me. If you have a Better Devils that you've got a bunch of kills on, and you get another Better Devils and that's a Masterworks or whatever, you can just infuse it and it's no big deal, right? Saying goodbye to that gun that you've had for 3 weeks, a month is irrelevant. That piece of armor, you get a drop that is a higher light one, and it's irrelevant. It's just you just delete it. I don't like the reward system like that, and it goes back to what you guys are saying. Some way that you invest time and energy into it, and it's a hard decision to what route you take with that piece of armor or gun.
Yeah.
And I think the raid mods that we saw, I think that was a prime example that we can have PvE mods and we can have PvP mods.
Sure.
You don't need to have a mod that you have on all of your armor and have it work everywhere.
Exactly.
They already have that in the raid mods.
Exactly.
So I think if they could expand on that and just make crazy PvE mods that you could grind for to make you powerful, and then have PvP
And there were
mods
perks
that
in
you
D1 that only applied to PvE.
Yep.
So it's
and then those mods, we keep talking about this, but those mods should be rewards that come from, grinding and doing things in specific areas that make sense. If you're going to get a Vex mod, that you see them in the Ghosts, the sort of situational and location based types of rewards for getting these items, and selecting and equipping the right item makes your experience on that planet or in that playlist or whatever you're doing more rewarding. Translating that into weapons and armor, I think, is something that's important. But along with that, just goes, I'm a collector. I like to have all the armor and things like that. I like to have the different sets of things, and I like to make pre-built loadouts. And it's extremely difficult to do that. I don't know how they're going to increase the vault space for any of these ideas.
Just
I mean,
increase
they're going
it.
to have to it's going to have to quadruple, right? It's going to have
They
to
just have to increase the vault space. Just, that number needs to
they're
go
gonna
up
have
to
to do
500. That's pretty
Just
easy.
increase vault space, Lul forehead in chat.
Here's the thing with the vault space. Like why don't we have kiosks? If we don't have the vault space, give us kiosks so all my characters are full of gear. My vault's full of gear. I've stuffed my postmaster. I don't want to delete things because some things like sparrows and I have things that I can't get anymore that I have to hold on to.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, killing me.
With non-random rolls, I don't understand why there's not kiosks. I mean, if I delete a Better Doubles, why can't I just go to a kiosk? It's not like
Why wouldn't just
there is
unlock
this
it?
one unique special
irrelevant.
snowflake that only I had. No, it's the same as every better doubles it's ever been.
Yeah.
Allow
Yeah,
me to
and
just go and get it again.
And you
if
don't
I
have to
want.
get
Like
any
exotics.
materials to unlock it or anything. It's just
Nope.
completely usable the second you get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or unlock it to the kiosk once you hit it max level with it. And once you hit 335 with it, unlock it.
You
for the
can now
kiosk.
delete it.
Yeah.
So you can get it again.
We should go back to the sniper rifle because there's more to talk about that. The sniper
Nightfall rewards.
Yeah, sorry I derailed that.
No, it was a
super
good
hard
conversation.
for 20
We
minutes.
need to talk about it because that was one of them actually. Is that well? Here's your grind for this sniper rifle. It's like that's not the grind that we're looking for. So we talked about that, but also it's a unique look, right? It's not a reskin, correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's a really powerful
haven't
sniper
seen it.
rifle for PvP in the current sandbox.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about that?
What?
I agree that the things that you just said. It is all of those things, and that is the extent of my thoughts.
All right, I'll give you my thoughts about it. I think it was a huge missed opportunity because I feel like that sniper rifle is something that Shaxx or the gunsmith should be offering up for a set of challenges that have been completed, and it should have been Brackian's sniper rifle that you get
Thank you.
from him.
Right. It should have been themed to the strike.
Absolutely.
Just like D1
Right?
strike exclusive stuff was themed to the respective strike. I
Yeah,
agree completely.
it should have been some
It was
badass
disappointing,
alien
especially
sniper.
since it was delayed.
Right?
It was delayed to make it more special.
Yeah, see this is also like I wouldn't come off this way as much if we had gotten it a month ago, but bumping it a whole month and being like, well, artists need to work on this a little bit. I'm like, this sniper rifle, that it does look cool, but I'm like, I feel like that should have come from Shaxx or the gunsmith. Give me Brackian sniper rifle with alien bullets. That's what I expected to fall off that.
I mean, it's from one of the most beautiful strikes
Mhm.
as well. Like that strike is
Love that
beautiful.
strike.
The weapon that comes from it should be insane looking. And I want to get like, capes and Titan marks and stuff like that from it as well. Like special, crazy looking stuff like the Tanix cloak.
Yes.
Everyone grinded for the Tanix cloak.
the Scion
They
Slayer
want
cloak,
Mhm.
right?
The
I want the-
Scion Flare cloak. Yeah. Like that kind of stuff we need in there too.
It didn't.
I want the leaf blower from what's his face in Tree of Probabilities. One of those
Yes.
Tree of Probabilities, the final boss.
Yes.
Yes.
I want that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can shoot once, or you can charge it up for 10 ammo and go.
That would be awesome.
That would be freaking badass.
Throw enemies in
That
the
sounds
wall,
like a
like
strike specific reward to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I envision. It's like, hey,
Same.
you have thing that I want. I want your
Remember
gun.
the Shield brothers, when you defeated them, one of the rewards could have been the arms that.
Yes.
yeah,
their gloves?
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
like
what I
you
was hoping
wear
for,
what
Pope.
they use. You use the weapons that they use.
That's what I was hoping for, Pope. I was hoping for a full set of armor that had that kind of theme to it,
Right.
and weapons. Like one sniper rifle is not very satisfactory, and like Datto said, it's binary. It's like once
Yep.
you get it,
You're done.
You're done.
The other problem
Yeah.
also is that there was a total of 3 weapons and then 2 sparrows, 1 ship, and a ghost that was
Yep.
added to the loophole. Do we know for sure that is all that they're adding for Nightfall Strikes? Or is that...
No, we don't know for sure.
Yeah, we don't know. Because
I think that's just been farmed or
okay.
mined.
Because if it is, if a certain Nightfall is just the ghost or essentially things that get reduced down to Eververse type of stuff, then, man, that's it. Missed opportunity.
When they said exotic accessories, I actually really thought they're gonna give us like capes and Titan marks and warlock bonds and all that stuff specific to the strike too. I just thought it would be everything, like ghost, sparrow, shader, like give us everything.
Do you think
strike
that some of that
specific.
stuff?
Right?
Let us look like the strike?
Do you think some of that stuff is hidden in that game?
Is it what?
No.
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 Okay.
No. Just straight
Good,
Banner
good.
discussion.
Well done, everybody. Good job.
Next.
Well, I mean, I think one of the
Next
things that
question.
we wanted from Nightfalls was the possibility of getting a black spindle, right? Type thing.
I feel like From the Nightfall is not the correct place for that, but an
Agreed.
activity like that,
Well, my
somewhere
point is,
in the
is that
game.
I was hoping that we would be getting some of these rewards would come, the community would need to uncover them. And maybe there's still that possibility.
maybe in the future. For this one, I feel like they're very much kind of telling us everything that we're going to get, which is kind of a
Yeah.
question I wanted to ask to you guys. We've seen a lot of the people talk, or just the community in general, saying, this patch isn't what we had hoped it would be. Do you think that is that's because like we ourselves hyped it up too much, or do you think, Bungie themselves had a lot of promotional stuff going out about this patch, and they're, for about a month before this patch was supposed to drop, it felt like this was supposed to be a pretty big deal for an update.
Really, it's very
Yeah.
much what was advertised, to be honest.
Okay.
Really?
They did release a hype trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
no,
the
I was gonna say, like, I think they did more promotional stuff for this patch than I remember them ever doing for like an update before.
Right.
Not for like a content release or an event or something. And again, I don't think they were like falsely advertising. It's pretty much
Right.
what I expected. But in a perfect world, we would have had this, like back in December, and by now we would have had some, bigger core changes. But yeah, again, it's like I don't have any problem like with the patch specifically.
Yep.
Like most of it's good. It's just a lot of us want more because we want the game to be fun enough that we can play it 10 hours a day every day again. That's what we all want.
And I think this all of this stems to people are waiting so long for updates. So when the next big sandbox update comes out, people are expecting a giant change.
Yep.
And I
this
don't know
was the
I don't
first
know
one.
if Bungie can ever reach those expectations when people are only getting updates so infrequently.
You know how I think
and
they
then,
can?
and because of that, it also like the longer it takes for them to get the quote unquote big one, the more it just adds to the next one. That the expectations kind of just grow over time. It snowballs, and then the disappointment snowballs as well. So
Exactly.
it's a rough spot. If they could do smaller updates more often, if possible, I think that would go a long way to like, instilling some more trust and faith from the community side.
100%. Absolutely. Because
Here's
sorry, Datto, 1 second. Just
go.
the issue really is that it compounds with every month that goes by that they haven't acknowledged or changed something. And if they make these updates like this update would have been received with a lot of it would have been a very exciting update to have 3 months after the launch of Destiny 2. People would have been like, okay, cool, things are changing. We can see it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. We're happy about this stuff. And the fact that it took 7 months and we feel like we don't know when the next update's going to happen, except for maybe the DLC, that's the issue. That compounds. It creates more problems with the community because problems are discovered or just not the right angle, and then we have to just live with it. Datto, go for it.
This
public test server. I think it helped
seems-
temper expectations a lot. I know probably Activision or Bungie is worried about spoiling content. This update would have been perfect, absolutely perfect for a public test server.
Yeah.
It doesn't spoil anything new, right? Maybe you leave out the Nightfall loot until it actually comes in the patch, but Crucible testing, PvE testing, getting feedback immediately from probably what would be a smaller community, but the community nonetheless, right? And saying, like, if this was on the public test server for like 2 weeks, people would go in to a Rumble match, see that the spawns are all crazy, and be like, "What is this? What's happening? I'm getting
100%.
shot in the back
Day one.
every 2 seconds."
Yep.
So for things that are like sandbox specific or PvP specific, I think investing into a public test server would benefit not only so that they can get community feedback better, but to also temper expectations of what these updates are going to be, instead of just we're coming into an update and we don't know if it's going to be insanity or if it's just going to be tempered or like reserved or what.
Yeah, they need to
So
be
I
they need to be okay
that
with
would
things failing and then saying, okay, we'll fix it in a week or two. Like
Yep.
they need to be okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like the laser tag was an example of that. They're like, sorry, this needs to be fixed, but have fun with it for the next week.
And
Right.
someone just says in chat right now, Microsoft and Sony restrictions, blah blah blah. I would rather at least one public test server on PC at least than
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Right?
Like it could basically be the beta. Like we got one playlist with like 2 maps on it, and then you got a PvE strike to run. It doesn't have to be the entire game.
Exactly. And
That's
you
right.
know,
Just
if you want to limit it, say like you have to have a Destiny account in order to log on to the PTS. Fine. But I think that would help a lot in many aspects, at the very least in terms of managing the community's expectations.
Yep.
Amongst other things.
Yeah, and especially given that this was basically a quality of life improvement, not a DLC, not an event, and so it would fit that perfectly.
Great.
And I think you would be able to nip things in the bud, just like the spawn system, or hey, you know, just so you know, the Vigilance Wing kills at the same speed as a Better Devil's, except the Vigilance Wing can hit 0 headshots, and that's the Better Devil's optimal time to kill. Like that's clearly, you know, something needs to be tweaked there. So yeah, no, I fully support it. I think it would do a lot of good, especially now for this game in the community.
Yeah, you don't need a public test public test server for the whatever the May expansion is going to be.
Right.
Like it's story stuff. We don't need to give feedback on story stuff. It's just here it is. There you go. But for something like the sandbox, the thing that you're going to play over and over again, but it doesn't spoil anything, that's where you know,
Exactly.
that's where I think it could be good.
You want to transition over to the TWAB?
Sure.
Sure. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
think
there's
we're
anything
good.
else in the.
There's probably other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah. How about, does anyone else have anything to say about the update?
Well, I enjoyed Crucible more than I had before.
What are you playing on
So-
console or PC? Just
Console, because I'm not playing against just 2 people. Let me tell you. I don't want to do that.
True.
There's 3.
2. There's
Yeah,
just 2. 2
PC
people.
population's
It's really low.
little rough.
Plus, I really wanted to.
17
So, like
Fs.
things like hand cannons, right? Not feeling crispy. Hand cannons are crispy on PC because you have a mouse, whereas you're really gonna feel that with a controller or on console. So I really wanted to see our hand cannons feeling better. So yeah, I've been on PS4 messing around with stuff.
And how do they feel?
They feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now there's more that you can use. There's more hand cannons. There's not just like one that actually feels usable. There's a bunch of them that actually feel really good. Like Nature of the Beast, which is the Crucible hand cannon. No one was really using that before, and now it's like one of the better hand cannons.
I still can't get on that hand cannon just because of the recoil pattern. Like the gun
They
goes
move
directly
weird.
straight up
Yeah.
and totally obscures my vision on my target. So if
Oh, I
he's strafing
hated
back and
that.
forth, I have no idea if he's just strafed back and forth because
Just keep
the barrel
strafing.
of the gun.
Put your mobility at 10 and just keep strafing.
Just keep strafing.
Just keep strafing. It's the one thing that the Go Fast update for mobility did is made you strafe real fast.
I want a 180 RPM hand cannon that has that like diagonal
Instead of the boop.
Yeah.
visual
The vertical recoil.
I don't like this.
It's basically it's like a scout rifle, right? But it's a hand cannon.
Yeah, it obscures your vision too much. I don't like it. I just want
It's
I want
just
that
a
old.
troll weapon. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that was also the Vex hand cannon, right? Where it just came back right back in your face and just like, ugh.
Yes.
But that
The
you
181, yeah.
fire that slower so that like it resets before you have to fire it again.
Yeah.
Whereas the 180 RPM, like it doesn't reset when you're ready to fire.
No, I think all the 180
Just
RPMs
fan
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
All of them
Yeah,
pop
they
back
do.
in your face like that.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 Vex ones.
Yes.
There's the
Jack Queen King is awesome. The other one is not.
The Jack Queen King does
West of
have that
Sunfall.
Maybe it is
vertical.
now.
Or West of Sun
Does it?
something.
Yeah,
Jack Queen King
it
does?
does, but you don't notice as much because it resets before you have to fire again.
Huh.
Whereas like something like a Better Devils kind of goes like kind of diagonal.
I
Well,
Yeah.
Nature of the
understand. I
Beast
get
is
it.
apparently like the greatest thing ever. So
All right.
that's
There
new.
you
So in in this week's TWAB, they
Wham.
talk a little bit about the development roadmap. They are moving forward with the development roadmap. They didn't share a whole lot of details, but who is it?
Is it Josh?
John Wisniewski actually
Oh,
talked
right.
a little bit about exotic weapon tuning that's coming for 1.2, which should come in May with the DLC. And
Right,
specifically, he
House of
talked
Wolves
about the Sturm and Drang, the kind of weapon combo, the hand cannon and sidearm combo.
Yeah.
And they went ahead and showed a video. So now, when you use the Drang, you'll get this kind of overloaded perk for your Sturm.
It puts a bullet back in the Sturm. It's always done that. Yeah.
Okay, and that bullet does 1.8 times the damage of a normal Sturm bullet, allowing you to two-shot a Guardian if you hit 2 headshots.
It currently does increase the damage, but Datto, I remember us going like, it says it does it. How much have we been able to figure it out? It was like
2.
It was negligible.
it was a very low number.
Yeah, so many weapons are afraid of like being above 8% damage. Darcy was the best example. Like
Darcy was a
6% damage boost.
Wow.
Thanks. Yeah.
So they showed a video of this thing, and it looked like fun. You know, you have to kill with the Drang first to get this thing to proc. But if you do, you suddenly have a 2-shot hand cannon for one. You know, you have to hit that first shot to make it a 2-shot hand cannon, because that magic bullet is just that first bullet. But it did look like fun, and it looked like you could definitely have some fun with it in the Crucible.
Yeah, they are improving the synergy between the weapons. That's always been the thing with me, is like it just wasn't that exciting. Like the synergy was cool, and it's something that we'd never seen before with any sort of weapon combos in the game. But it just really wasn't worth it, considering that you had to use a sidearm, at least for any PvE stuff. PvP, you know, sidearms they're probably fine now. But Sturm was just never really used, and you have to use both but now it looks a little more worth it. Hey, you invest into this play style, into these weapons, and if you master it, we're going to reward you, and that's nice.
Mhm.
I like that.
And I think it's a nice buff. It's just like, the thing is, the Sturm without that damage buff is going to get destroyed by most other weapons. So you're basically limiting its ability to really compete with, say, a Vigilance Wing or something else. I have to get a kill with a very specific weapon in order to do it. But again, like,
Doesn't the Sturm have the fastest time to kill out of any hand cannon?
Technically, I think it's like a 1.07 if you hit all 3 headshots. But easier said than done, especially now that the movement speed. This is the problem with like the time to kills on spreadsheets, is that you can look at a gun and it says, oh wow, like the fastest time to kill is like 0.6 seconds, and then you realize, oh, I have to hit 10 headshots in a row to do that. I mean, I don't care if you even have an.
I feel like
aimbot,
that's harder with the
this game is
Vigilance
gonna be
Wing
hard.
than it is with the Sturm, though.
What's that?
I feel
Say
like
again?
that's harder to do with the Vigilance Wing than it is with the Sturm. Is
mean-
to actually
mean-
hit that
I
optimal time to
agree.
kill with the Vigilance Wing, you have to hit 10 bullets in a row to the dome on a moving target. With the Sturm, you got to hit 3.
Yeah, no,
That's-
it's a valid
Yeah.
point. The thing with the hand cannons is there's still quite a bit of flinch. So if I have a 3-shot hand cannon, optimal time to kill, and I miss 1 shot, my time to kill drops so far below that I'm almost guaranteed dead against a weapon that's more forgiving because it has a faster rate of fire. That's why Better Devils is used over those 110 RPM hand cannons, because they're much more forgiving, and it doesn't matter how good your aim is. The game is so fast now in terms of movement, it's just impossible to reliably get that optimal time to kill. So you're going to have something that has a better average time to kill. That being said, I'm glad they're like buffing some exotics, and it's nice to see it. Hopefully, it's nice, and we'll get to test it out. But I hope they're willing to like push things further, even still, because I feel like exotics should be kind of the best weapons, and I kind of miss that personally. But that's just my own anecdote.
They also talked about the road ahead a little bit. And I'm looking for the tab. Sorry. They actually talked about this on Twitter and on Reddit, but they kind of set out this we're listening kind of thing where, here's what we are aware of your concern. We know that you want random rolls. We know what you want the weapon slots to be redone. We know the progression system is not satisfactory. And there's a list of probably 7 other things that they put up on Reddit. it reminds me of the old Bungie a little bit, like where they'd say, here are the things that are your concerns, but we're not necessarily promising that we're going to address them in any way.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know. I feel like this was more like okay, so this is what we've got from the community. This is what seems to be the hot topic. Is there anything that you guys want to add here? Okay, this is what we're gonna be looking at. I don't think the community is gonna let them just not talk about that stuff. I think with them coming out and saying, yeah, these are the things that we are looking at and talking about now, they're kind of setting themselves up to have to talk about it.
True.
Some people will be like, guys, you said that you see what we're saying. If you don't talk about it, you're just ignoring us.
But Watts, they did have lists like this during Destiny 1 that nothing ever happened to, right?
Yeah, but now I don't think Bungie can get away with that. I don't think there's any way that they can.
Yeah, at this point, they're in a different position with the community with what they've done.
Yeah.
And how long they've taken for this update.
Yeah.
Longer than we would have liked.
Way too long.
But I want to try to be fair here and say that, Chris Barrett, Cosmo, DMG, they've all been doing a lot of good lately. And I appreciate them addressing things. And even if it's not like, hey, we have the answer for this, or we're going to do this, and this is what you want, blah, blah, blah. I would love that too. And that's the next step. But at least they're not ignoring it, because when you don't acknowledge things, when you let your community just fester in an echo chamber, it breeds toxicity. And when people are uncertain, they assume the worst. And when that happens for years, it just, again, it conditions people to have a negative mindset, and it's hard to blame them. So I hope this is something that they're working really hard to turn around, because it needs it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were some changes to the companion app. Does anybody care about the companion app?
You can see 3D rendered things of your armor now.
You
Yeah.
can like make fire teams
It
are
looks
also
better.
like in the app, and
That's actually kinda cool.
there's like some cool stuff in there, but
You can hide your fire teams for your clan too. I thought that was kind of
Right?
funny.
When you're trying to play low key, and that one person that's always asking you to play, trying to hide from them. Now you
I'm low key trying to win today, so you're not invited.
We also found out. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pope. Sorry.
No, that's you.
We also found out there's going to be a Bungie bounty. That's going to be on PC on 4/4/18. I think that we're planning on trying to take that on.
You guys are gonna take them on for sure and win. It's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Well, I mean, if we do take them on, we're going to win. It's just, whether or not we can actually get matchmaking.
Yeah.
I mean, Cosmos.
The other 20 teams are going to be
he's got a
matchmaking
real
that day.
good chance.
That's what I'm saying. On PC, there's no one there. We'll
It's
get
on
it.
PC, so between them and us, we're 50% of the population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be able to
Sounds
get
like we
Yeah.
got a shoehorn.
We just gotta wait.
We might have multiple
wait our
attempts.
turn.
Dylan's kind of a pushover in PvP, so it's no big deal.
Ooh.
No, they're all good players. That's a good squad. Even if people that match up with them, they're gonna have a fight on their hands for sure. It's gonna be in Mayhem, which is a little bit.
Little coin
I
flippish.
mean, it's going to be a bunch of
Different.
hunters. They're going to be
Yeah,
a
it's fun.
bunch of hunters. So just everyone should queue up as like Dawnblade, and then they'll probably win at that point.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go.
Can't hit what you can't see.
Yeah.
The
Fast.
go
You
fast.
Kill yourself on
the
a
player
wall.
card reminds me of the Nepal logo.
I do like it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like it a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice.
Does anybody care which faction won?
We already know.
I'm best
I mean,
faction
not the one
done,
I-
obviously. So.
I mean,
There was a
Oh,
there
the
was a-
faction with the best shaders won? Well, so weird for 4 times in a row. Who would have guessed that
What can
coming?
I say?
there was a lot
Ari's
of people that
faction
were kind
won,
of
so-
sad
Of
about
course.
it. There were a lot of people that were like confused at winning because there's like some bots that you can use in Discord to like track who's
Yeah,
turning in
yeah.
what and stuff. And apparently that bot showed that I think it was Future War Cult was winning, and like
I've heard that that's just how many people actually registered.
Yeah,
not
the-
how many
the-
I just turned in.
Ooh.
the bot is like the tracking websites. It only tracks if you like
If
open
you
it up.
pledged.
You pledge to it. or you like say, hey, I want this to be tracked. So maybe everyone that signed in is like saying, hey, I'm trying to get Future War Code up. I want to see where we're at. So it skewed the results a little bit.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about? So we're in season 2, and this is the faction wars. We've seen them and the kind of anemic versions that are of what we see. Can we talk a little bit about what faction wars, how they could improve faction wars for season 3? Because I know
Rallies,
that they have to be working on them. They have to be.
Well,
So
Put a leaderboard in the game so I could see in real time who's winning.
That would be nice.
okay,
That's a
put
bare
screen
minimum.
like a billboard in the tower. You could like see it while you're there.
Live update. Updates
live
every 5
update
minutes.
of who's winning, who's losing. Okay, but what
I
else?
That'd be great.
What
that-
else?
Make it faction wars,
I
PvP,
don't-
3v3v3.
Hey, you guys
So,
remember
yeah.
like 2 weeks ago when I was actually kind of happy about the TWAB because they actually discussed this in the TWAB and you guys all
Yeah, we
shot me
talked
down
about it.
saying it wasn't really that good and that interesting? Just wanted to
Oh.
point that one out real quick. Sorry.
Wait, what was it?
I'm out of context. Just lost it, man.
I know. Sorry. Like 2 weeks ago, you guys were all like, "Oh no, this TWAB is more of
It's
a
a
TWAB,"
THWAB.
and
Mhm.
they were talking about factions and from the seasons team. This is from literally 2 weeks ago. We have been reviewing player feedback from faction rallies and are planning to make some fundamental changes to the event. Here are a few of the overall goals we are trying to achieve.
Sure.
Pledging to a faction should be a meaningful choice. Rewards.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
it was
we
good.
talked about it. Yeah.
We talked a
talked
little
about
bit
it.
about it,
We
but I
talked a
mean,
lot about
we
it,
also
actually.
did not have Datto and Triplewreck here, and
So,
I'm
okay, you
interested
guys-
in hearing.
Yeah, I just more thing, maybe like more like Watts just said, like 2v2v2, or even if it's just like 4v4, we're gonna pull 4 people from New Monarchy and then 4 people from a different faction. I realize that matchmaking times might be longer for that, but if there was like, hey, you're gonna win the equivalent of a package for your team if you win the game or something like that, something to make it feel like I care, because I don't care. The only thing I care about is getting a bunch of shaders stockpiled for the next time that it rolls around, because that's it. Like you're really not going to entice me with the weapons, because
You
there's
don't
already a
enjoy
bajillion
collecting
weapons out
tokens?
there. What?
You don't enjoy collecting tokens?
To get shaders, I guess. That's the only thing I care
One-time
about. Like
use shaders?
I can stockpile them. That's fine.
I'm okay with collecting tokens as long as it's like from maybe a different activity that we don't normally already do, because I'm just playing what I've already played, which is something they addressed. The event should-
Yeah, no, I'm hopeful. The only thing that I would like to see, is some kind of PvP mode where you're playing like for your faction.
Yeah.
I think 2v2v2 would work better,
Yeah.
given that like
Yeah.
3v3v3 and how Rumble has turned out. I think that might be a little
Could
messy.
be awful.
But basically, like 3-team doubles could be a lot of fun, and I would play that a lot.
That could be
Only pledging to one faction per account.
Yes.
great. Yeah.
I don't have to care about
That's
faction
good.
rally if I can be with all 3 factions at the same time.
It's true.
Literally has no impact.
Yeah.
None.
I win
Yeah.
every time.
0. Yep. Always a
Yeah.
winner.
It's even the same glimmer on all 3 of your characters that you buy for $1,000 on that weapon, if you even care about the
Yep.
weapon that they give you.
That's
And
right.
you don't even care about using that much glimmer anymore because you have so much.
Yeah.
So
I can't get rid of my glimmer fast enough. I cannot buy more mods. It's just I
It's-
Oh, that's
realize
one
some
thing that
people
did
might
change
not
in the
like
update,
that.
Though. The mods did get a little more powerful in the update.
Yeah.
They did, but I'm so tired of just going to the gunsmith and doing the little mods inventory vault dance
Oh, it's awful.
every
It's awful.
every other time I play the game for 20 minutes.
I just
It's
stopped
frustrating.
doing it. I just
Yeah,
Bungie,
I
in the
just kinda
future, if
sit
you're gonna give us
captive
50
at
mods, can you give us
1,000
50 places to put the mods? Like,
Yeah.
Give us like a separate inventory place in the vault for him or something.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
It is
unnecessarily tedious.
crazy. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what mods all exist is my problem with the mod system as it even is right now. So I want to go collect some mods, but I have no idea what I have. I have no idea.
They're not
what,
unique enough. They're not.
yeah,
they're
they
not-
all
they
do
don't-
various, basically the same thing. They only like four overall unique mods, and
Yeah.
okay.
And we talked about mods 2.0 being,
Mhm.
you know, something that is destination based or unique to the activities that you're doing and make it meaningful.
I'd like to hear
Um,
them start talking about that, Pope.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like
Give-
they're doing
start
with the
giving us
exotic
specifics.
weapon tuning.
Mm-hmm.
And just give us like a, hey guys, this is one of the mods that we've been working on.
That'd be
I
awesome.
think the reason they aren't talking about it is because they pushed it to September, right? And people want to hear about the stuff that's coming out sooner rather than later. I mean, I would like to hear about mods 2.0, but I was very surprised when they initially said, like, yeah, we're going to have mods 2.0 for February. Like, no, you're not. We're going to have it for March. No, you're not.
Nah.
And then we're going to have it for September. There you go. That's
Bungie time
what-
turning into Valve
that's
time.
what's going to happen. Because
Yeah.
to
They are, like,
rebalance
right
an
now.
entire mod economy like that in such a short amount of time was just going to be either going to be trash or it just wasn't going to happen. And I'm kind of glad that it didn't happen because that's a massive
It's a
undertaking.
make or break for
and
me.
they
It
definitely
is
need
make
more
or break
time.
too. They
Probably.
have to hit it out of the park
It's a
with the
big
mod
deal.
stuff because as it is right now,
All future
uh,
content
yeah,
counts on it.
as nice as the sandbox is for balance, that is also its downfall. And that's why when I talked about the sniper rifle, it's like, oh, great, it's a sniper rifle. That's really great in this sandbox right now. But this sandbox is kind of boring. The perks basically just end up relegating to what can you do a little bit more damage for you in certain circumstances. And that needs to change. We need interesting perks we need PvE perks that make the gameplay flip itself upside down for you to be like, whoa, I didn't think that was possible. Now I'm searching for different weapons and trying to do these combinations. And I really hope that in September, because I definitely don't think it's going to happen in May, I hope that in September they actually can do that for us. And Mods 2.0 is part of the equation, but also a whole new set of perks come out that make the sandbox broken in fun ways.
Has Bungie said that mod 2.0 isn't coming out till September specifically?
Yeah, they pushed it out of May. They said we're bumping it.
I know they pushed it out of May, but did they say September?
No.
We're just
I still have hopes that we're going to get updates.
I thought they
throughout
said
the
it on the
summer.
roadmap.
No.
I thought they said it on the roadmap.
The roadmap said that it's getting pushed off the roadmap, essentially. No, they'll talk about it in the future, but they didn't give a specific date about it.
I am hoping to see another roadmap that has dates during the summer. Like I would hate to say to find out that
when
the
are
next
when are
time
we
see
getting
an
the
update-
May when are we getting the May content?
May?
May.
When date? Give me a date.
When is the May update?
Okay, so maybe this is
No way.
First
maybe this
I would
is just
assume-
my
and
problem.
May
but
31st.
I'm trying to book, people to be on the show and not knowing when things are happening.
Listen,
so I'm
their
sure
May
everybody has
update
their
doesn't
own
revolve
problem,
around
but
our
this is
show.
my
Okay?
problem.
Yeah.
What's that?
Nothing. It's okay. We already said it.
No, I want to know.
Anyway, so issues with the tower black screen. They've actually found out the exact problem with it, and in update 1.2.0, that'll finally get fixed.
When's that drop?
I think that's the
May.
next update.
May?
When is May?
Oh, okay.
Sometime
May is the
between
5th
January and
month of the
December.
Gregorian
It's in the
calendar year.
spring, I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
You guys want to do Twitter questions?
Suppose we can,
Hit me with
do
the
some
Twitter
of that.
questions.
Hope you want to talk about the Patreon while I try and find the tab that I have the Twitter questions on.
Yes,
How many tabs
I
do
want
you
to
have,
first of
man?
all thank everybody who's signed up for joining us on Patreon. With that, we've been blown away and been able to increase. Not only are we doing an extra off-topic podcast where we talk about other games once a month, so we're doing a whole additional podcast once a month, which is turning out to be a blast. Our patrons have also made it possible for us to do Let's Plays, which we were originally going to do one a month, and now because of the overwhelming support, we've been able to do one a week. And that means that we've been able to hire a video editor, an audio editor, and just pay our production team to be able to do the content that you guys want. So shout out to them. If you want to become a patron, just look in the description of the podcast, or if you're in chat, click on the link. There's great rewards from being part of our Discord channel to getting access to content early. Being a part of the Patreon does not mean that you close off content to the rest of the public. You just get it 2 days early, and you support us in a way that making the content possible does. And so thank you very much. And just want to know that you are making it better for everybody in chat or everybody who's listening to this by making it possible for us to create more content.
We should have a new Let's Play coming out on Monday, I believe, of us playing Golf It.
Yes.
Which
Patrick
was
cheating at Golf It.
Patrick cheated at Golf It.
He did, yeah.
And if you wonder
Can
how that's
confirm.
possible, it's ridiculous. And I made it my mission to destroy
I am a
him.
god. I am one of those people that's really good at golf. And
Golf.
Well,
It.
You are a false god, sir.
we had a great time. The Patreon will
I had a great
get
time.
Golf It on Monday, and the public will get it on Wednesday. It's going to be uploaded to all of our YouTube channels as well as our own DCP Live YouTube channel. But yeah, and we're also partnered. They made it possible. We are partnered on Twitch, which is phenomenal. It's a great step, and I love the things that are happening right now.
we'll be shouting out all the subs at the end of the podcast, just in case you guys were asking about it. So
Yeah.
Funny Pope. You call it the production team. I like to think of it as the
Our minions.
Pope. I like to think of it as the Pope, like anti-heart attack team.
They are so good, man. They do the amount of work they do, like Ash, Aries, Red, Nick, and Sly, our newest member, Sly, our video editor. She was introduced to us by Jez. They're all they're all from Oceania. I don't know how, but they're all Australian, or like except for Aries, but they're
It's
all
Red's fault.
they're all over there in either New Zealand or Australia. And literally when we go to bed, they are working. And when I wake up in the morning, we all wake up in the morning, literally the podcast is edited, uploaded, the video. I mean, it's nuts. They are the best group of people. And we're finally able to treat them like the professionals they are because of our patrons. So thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Speaking of patrons, you got a few questions from them very quickly. Adam Kamiri says, House of Wolves DLC 2 of Destiny Year 1 put Destiny in a decent spot and made selling the Taken King much easier. What are the repercussions if Destiny 2 DLC 2 flops and roadmap updates continue to avoid fundamental issues like primary time to kill, endgame progression, things like that, etc.? Will poor Year 2 expansion sales be the end of the franchise?
I don't think it'll be the end.
Yeah,
It
no.
will definitely. It'll hurt.
Yeah.
It'll hurt Bungie and also hurt the community too, because I think, we say this almost every single time. It's like, oh, we're always waiting for that next big thing, basically, because that'll probably fix it and do well. I think most of us are kind of just tired of it at this point. So yeah, a lot of people that have been sticking with it this entire time are probably not going to feel too happy about that, and drop it for the most part. But at the same time, for every person that quits, there's usually someone else that will eventually pick up the game.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it just won't be at like the exact right time to create a good explosion of population, and having people always kind of trickle in is a little bit rough when people are also hemorrhaging out. So to speak.
I will say I do see a lot of new players coming into Destiny 2.
There
I'll see it in
are.
Twitch chat, I'll see it on
50%
YouTube
off on
comments, I'll
PC.
see it on Twitter. Yeah, there you go.
I think
I am
most,
seeing a lot of new players coming in.
I think most people have just come to the conclusion that in order for any huge changes to happen, you have to wait for one of these big September releases. And so I think even if DLC 2 doesn't hit any sort of expectations of the community, or even if it's just like dead in the middle, lukewarm reception or whatever, people are still just going to be waiting for that big September DLC,
Mhm.
whatever it ends up being, because that's their opportunity to make more of the huge sweeping changes that get people excited. These little tiny incremental changes don't get the outside community excited, but when a huge big thing comes in, that's where the excitement can come in and you pull people back.
And you know what? But the thing is, even on top of that, if you looking at the Twitch directory on that update, it was pulling about 17 to 20,000 people watching Destiny 2, and
Good old
that's
days.
and that's without Goth or Broman on as well. And
Sure.
I think it's a testament to the fact that people love the franchise and really want to see it back at a place where we all are super excited to jump in every day and discover new things that happen, have experiences in PvP and have experiences in PvE, and be able to share them every day. And with an update like this, that it was basically sandbox adjustments with a new weapon that you can get from Nightfall, that many people were excited to jump back in and like either watch or play it. So the DLC may or may not flop, or it might just be lukewarm. That's completely possible. I'm expecting it to be a little bit better than Curse of Osiris because it was already technically planned content essentially for when D2 got launched. And I think once they do a hype push for whatever the Taken Queen is going to be in September, I think a lot of people, both new and old, are going to be excited to jump back in.
Yeah, I think the fall DLC is their chance to turn things around in a big way, and it has to be good. It has to be really good.
Yeah.
And to some degree, there are probably people that are just done and they're gone, and it's unfortunate. But I think, given that what we've seen with a lot of other franchises, you can see a really sizable resurgence. And if these last couple of days have been any indication, I said this a couple of days ago, like there are people hungry. There are Destiny fans that are starving, and they want to come home, and they're and I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way, and I'm always going to check out every update. I'm always going to check out every content release, and until it reaches the point where I can devote myself again in the way that I want to. But I think to some degree though, Bungie's had a little bit of leeway given the landscape where there's nothing really able to compete with Destiny. But I think that is also going to change because, and now even still, there's nothing that really hits all the check marks that Destiny 2 does. And I've had a lot of people tell me that, and I agree. But Anthem is on the horizon. We have Division 2. And I'm sure there'll probably be some other shared, world shooters being announced at E3. So, the other companies are starting to catch up, and hopefully that competition, motivates some positive change further. But I do think the fall is going to be make or break, and I hope it's great because everyone wants to come back and grind for the grasp and raid and play PvP for 10 hours. So, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be make or break until Destiny 3, and then Destiny 3 will be make or break, and then
yeah, no, it's a good point because it's always it's the next DLC is it's it. But to some degree, all of us are probably gonna play no matter what.
Oh yeah, obviously,
depending on how
all of us here
we may not
are
play.
Play.
Yeah, we're not gonna play maybe as much, or if that's gonna vary. But I think. I think we're diehard fans, and I think a lot of people are the same way.
Yep.
And it's literally the main reason I want it to be better is obviously it's fun to play, but I literally want my friends back. That's
it, right? Pope is we're in a broken community.
Right.
This very much feels like a broken community where how often do you guys see stories of, I used to have a group of friends that we played, every night or twice a week, did the raid. And they've all gone. They've all moved on to other games, and people want those friendships back. People want that experience back.
That quality time you had every night. Where you'd get together, you'd play some PvP, you'd do a raid, you'd hang out. I mean, those are maybe the game that person that you love to hang out with. That's a game that you're not interested in. They moved over to Overwatch, and that's not really your thing. Or it fractured clans and groups together that were so strong, in D1. And it's just, we're not that far away from all of them, having a reason to come back together. We're not.
It may feel
that way, but
those specific communities never come back together, and that we build a new community.
That's true. That's very true.
It's definitely going to be part of that, 100%. There's going to be new people, and certain people have absolutely moved on for good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's how it was when Taken King came out.
Taylor Rosano says, what Destiny 2 weapons do you now find viable and or fun to use with the Go Fast update?
Well, Vigilance Wang, right? Vigilance Wang's pretty good. I started really liking Last Perdition, which is a pulse rifle. It just feels really smooth. It feels really nice. Judgment hand cannon, which is the Trials of 9 hand cannon, was always in a spot where it was pretty good, but it just wasn't quite consistent enough. But now it actually feels like it's consistent. So I've been using that a lot more. And then like just trying out the archetype of hand cannon that I never used before, which is that fast firing one we were talking about before, and that feels a lot better. So I know pulse rifles in general, you can kind of just pick up any of them, like Datto has said, and just be like, feels good. It's
Relentless, inaugural address, all these just random trash pulse rifles, just pull them out of the vault and put them on.
Give them a
They're
shot.
all good. They're all really good. Also, linear fusion rifles. Some shotguns also in higher end PvE stuff. You probably will die a lot. If
I
you're
got
doing
the raid
Nightfall.
layer shoddy, and I don't know.
Zenith of your kind.
It felt really fun to you. I was like, all right, yeah, I like this.
It is a good shotgun. If you're trying to do prestige Nightfall, like pretty high score multipliers, you're probably going to get crushed a lot if you're not careful, but it's actually viable in some of those higher end pieces of content now. And I like that because shotguns had all the risk and none of the reward, and now at least they have some of the reward for getting up close. So good.
Something I don't know if is new. Did Rampage on the old fashioned allow you to 3-shot kill people in the Crucible before?
It's kill
It's
clip.
kill clip.
Kill clip.
Kill
And
clip, my bad.
yeah, you can 3-tap with it.
Yeah.
It did that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Man, I want all hand cannons to be.
to my knowledge, the only changes to hand cannons with this update was bringing console up to where PC was in terms of aim assist and like recoil, and then they tweaked that really fast firing archetype a little bit. But other than that, like hand cannons are basically the exact same.
PvE damage also got.
And PvE damage, yeah.
Which is good because, I mean, Better Devils, there's a reason everybody used Better Devils, and it's because it was the most forgiving hand cannon because of explosive rounds. Now you don't have that as much. You don't have to rely on that as much, and all their hand cannons got brought up to match Better Devils. And so, I mean, Midnight Coup was already pretty good, and now it's even better. So
Glorious.
I love the Midnight
Glorious
Coup.
Midnight Coup.
It's so good.
Yep.
What's the other 150 round per minute?
Dire Promise.
Yeah, that one's fantastic too. I love that one too.
Yeah.
Tyler Waite says, even with 1 month delay, the unique and powerful items we received as strike-specific loot were 3 guns, 2 sparrows, 1 ghost, and 1 ship. Is this adequate? I miss Farm
we
Niggle.
kind of talked about that earlier.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. It's not adequate.
It's a start, but
It's a
more,
start,
please.
More.
It's a start.
The
Yes, me too.
the sad
It's
thing
a
is
start.
I'm not sure if you can keep saying more and keep giving, people like us more, and I don't think there will ever be a
Oh, we'll always ask for more.
yeah, exactly.
Never enough. Never enough.
Everyone in this call will always
This
be
call.
asking for more. It's whether or not
Well, yeah.
the other 99% of like people who are asking for more. Like if you can make Reddit happy, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like if Reddit's happy, then I'm happy. Because then they're not saying mean
Oh,
things.
look at this
about
Datto
content creators.
just playing up the Reddit audience, just giving them
Dear
emails.
Reddit.
Here we go.
Pandering
Please
here.
like,
It's
comment,
gonna
and
be
subscribe.
Pandering to Reddit, my
Thank you
God.
very
Just
much.
Farming karma.
YouTube.com/Destiny.
Fresh King 25 says, Triplewreck, I remember your famous quote, primaries. Do you remember that?
What? It was just
I think
like
all it says is
just, it was just
quote,
okay.
primaries, question mark, unquote.
Yeah.
Primary?
That was just that was mostly just like back when like they had nerfed primaries, and it was just like a shoddy meta basically. Just people just rush you with shoddy. And I made an emote. It was just a primary and a question mark, and we would just always say that, someone rushes you with a shoddy, you back up, and you hit them. It's like, you need
So the
your
question
primary?
is, now that we have mostly primaries, you're asking for more power in the Crucible and faster time to kill. How come? Did you change your mind? What would be your perfect Destiny 2 PvP?
Well, I mean, that's a very. How much time do we have left?
Do we have time?
I'll try to answer that because I do hear that brought up a lot, but I think this is a matter of like misinterpretation of feedback. So a lot of people, including myself, were like, hey, primaries are not strong enough. Can you make them stronger? We didn't ask for them to completely change the weapon system, and that's eventually what happened. The issue was, back in year one, primaries were really strong. We had exotic hand cannons, we had Suros Regime. And when Taken King came out, we had pulse rifles like Messengers and Hopscotch Pilgrim. Right, these guns were nasty, and everyone loved using them. Now, here's the thing: is when they started knocking those weapons down, then naturally people resorted to abilities like sticky grenades and body shot sniping, and then switching to a primary, or just running around with a shotty the whole game. And what happened was just like they didn't recognize that there was a fragile balance between primary and special. Primaries need to kill fast when they're competing with potentially one-hit kill weapons, right? And so once the primaries come down, then your natural option is just to rely on those weapons that are killing much faster. So I have to say that it's a bit frustrating, because for 3 years we've seen them basically systematically nerf every facet of the game, and that suggests to me that either they messed up originally, or they've been continuing to mess up what they had. And I think the evidence suggests that it's the latter. So what I would love to see is, I would love to see the old weapon system come back, or something equivalent to it. I don't think shotguns and snipers belong in a slot with grenade launchers and rockets and things of that nature, because people like using those weapons. I think it creates deeper and more diverse gameplay. You can run around with just a shotgun if you want, but if primaries are strong enough, you will be punished and they will be kept in check. And I think that's what Destiny 1 accomplished in its prime. And I do hope to see that back. But yeah, I think the two primary system was an attempted fix for a problem that we all brought up about primaries, but I think it's had an unfortunate effect on both PvE and PvP, where it's just not fun. It's just not as fun, running around in a strike with two primaries, when I could have had, a powerful primary and a shotgun or a sniper and like a sword or something, or a rocket or a heavy machine gun. Bring heavy machine guns back, Thunderlord. But yeah, I think that just about covers the gist of it for me.
Tyler Andrew Zelnis says this question's for Datto concerning Legend of Acris. What can be done to make this weapon balanced in PvP? And he gives a suggestion: only 2 shots per brick and 1 for pickup, maybe?
Yeah, I would say the amount of ammo is probably the way that you're going to nerf it without nerfing the power fantasy of it, because it feels really good to kill a Striker Titan in their super about to slam you, and you just blow them up, and it's such a good feeling. But it's terrible as the person in their super that you only get 1 or 2 times per game. So I think you would just have to lower the amount of ammo that you get, because the weapon is just so forgiving and so strong that if you take any of its actual range or power away from the gun, then you just kind of neuter what the gun experience is about.
What's the point of having an exotic shotgun if it's not better than a regular shotgun?
That's right.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I think that's very interesting about the Acris, because I love the Acris in the sense that it fulfills the exotic shotgun like role. I think that's great. In the current system, I think it does need an ammo nerf, because there's no reason to use anything else. But if we were to return to a different weapon system, I think it should have 4 shots and remain in the heavy slot, because it is it's definitely better than every other shotgun. It's
Yeah.
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Triple, forgive my ignorance. Do you kind of support going back to the Destiny 1 weapon system with the primary, special, and then heavy?
I think it was a simple system that worked, and it was easy to understand and fulfilled basically the vast majority of potential range encounters that you're going to have. I've had people suggest like, oh, you could have like a 4-slot system, or even you just keep the system as it is, but you make like fusions and shotties and snipers like energy weapons, And then if you wanted, you could still, run 2 auto rifles or whatever you want to do. I have no problem with it, like having more choice, but I think it's like we need those powerful weapons to return. If we're just going to be able to have the same, fun gameplay that Destiny 1 had.
Mm-hmm.
Datto, how do you feel about that? Like the 3-weapon system, like going back to the Destiny 1 system.
I really miss it for PvE. There are certain aspects that I do like about the 2 primaries for PvP because it allows me to have much more versatility in my neutral game, right? I can have a hand cannon and I can have a pulse rifle. So if I get caught in a certain area of the map that's better for long range, I don't have to try and sneak my way over to try and get in a better hand cannon position. I have versatility, and I like that. But for PvE, the element system is not terribly exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty simplistic, and now we have what is essentially 2 primary weapons doing most of the combat. Heavy ammo up until this patch felt like such a rarity in certain PvE activities that you just never wanted to use it because you were just afraid of using it because 1, it's so fun to use but you didn't want to waste it because it could be so strong.
Yep.
So it just kind of creates this less than fun situation compared to D1 where you had a lot more flexibility because you can adjust your range much easier in PvE than you can in PvP because PvE enemies are
and
not
plus
human.
you've basically lost half of your fun set of weapons. Like they put seven types into one slot.
Yeah.
I want to use a sword and a fusion rifle at the same time. I love that. And then if you're talking about primaries, I think like there's something to be said for making players make choices, like committing to certain play styles and ranges, and there's still nothing preventing you from switching your weapons.
Yeah.
Like at any time, And to me, like my initial reaction is like, okay, we have 4 weapon slots, like a special, 2 primaries, and a heavy. Like I feel like one of the primary slots is just going to be redundant. I'm never going to use it because between my special and one of my main primaries, I am just using those most of the time, and then when heavy comes up, I use that. But I'm certainly down to have like a PTR, and we can test it out, and we can see what works and what doesn't.
Test out a 4th weapon slot. See if it works. See if it's good.
Yeah,
Because
I think that I like the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tifty.
No, I was just going to say that like I agree with all these points, and also in D1 you could easily just switch out your hand cannon to a scout rifle when you got to the next section of a PvE event. And there was technically more variety because you're always like, it made sense in that this was the reason to have these slots. If you wanted your sniper, you picked it was going to go in your slot, and your rockets and so on and so forth. And they need a compromise somewhere because the current system isn't working. But at the same time, it is nice being able to equip a pulse and a hand cannon at the same time.
So
there's merits to both.
Merits to both, yeah.
I saw someone in chat. So there's a few things that people said that I guess not many people have talked about is 1, what about being able to equip your weapon to any slot and a point system? So like say if you want to have a primary that is a shotgun, that would use up more points than if you were wanting to have an auto rifle in your primary slot.
So it's Call of Duty model, yeah.
It's a Call of Duty model, yeah. I saw those 2 things being brought up, and I was wondering what you guys thought about
I think for an RPG heavy game that is Destiny, a point system doesn't really work out because there's so many like I don't know, maybe call it a weight system. Your guardian can only carry so much instead. Which could have
Acreus is so heavy, goddamn.
Yeah,
It's
I mean that could have
But only
important
half the
interesting.
active.
Just the Acurus.
Somehow
Yeah,
it's
more
lighter though if
interesting
I put it in
applications.
this other slot.
Yeah, exactly.
Destiny 1, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate saying, oh, it was better like this, just make it like this. But I feel like the D1 system, we still hadn't even fully explored what that was capable of. And then we swapped over to this one.
Right, that's true.
So, yeah. I don't know, I feel like the older model was, it's simpler. People understood it.
Yeah.
Well, here's part of the problem I had, and I brought this up before, is that the concept of having elemental weapons that will interact with elemental things in the game, especially specifically in PvE when they interact with a shield of like, there's I like that concept. It just doesn't feel valued enough or explored enough to make it worthwhile to have those 2 slots. And I just think that the energy weapons should not have been reskins or just same versions of the primaries, so the kinetics. I mean, literally, it should be energy-based weapons, and they should be situational, and you should have them in there so that you can activate them when you're attacking a boss that has a void shield, and you want to use that weapon at this range, and you just prepare ahead of time because you're going to do that that activity. It just lost its
they should have
value
had different
in the system
properties. They should have had different properties in the sandbox. We talked about this before Destiny 2 came out. One of my hopes was that when I shot a solar bullet, that it really was some sort of fiery ball that had some sort of elements applied to it that could light enemies on fire and possibly surroundings and so on and so forth. And Void was like maybe mini gravity wells or something like that you could actually apply in the game. And none of that is. It's all it is right now is just color-coded bullets, which, yeah, it's fun to match the color coding to the shield type, but that's it.
That's it. It's not
they need to go crazy with that, though, even more so, right? If you match the colors of the shield, I think even more stuff should happen. Yeah. Not just like a large explosion and like it takes some more damage. I think like something bigger should happen if you're matching.
Yeah. Energy weapons, I don't think should be ballistic.
No.
Exactly. It should be energy coming out of them. Arc inherently should arc to other enemies. Like that should be the base property, is that when you get hit by an arc bullet, it has the possibility of arcing to other
like
points.
The Zalo supercell.
Yeah, like that was a arc weapon and it felt awesome. I love that gun. And that is what arc weapons should have been doing. And then solar should light things on fire. This game desperately needs more proc systems in that. Not necessarily in PvP. We've already felt that in PvP. But in PvE, there should be more things like how Monster Hunter has paralysis, sleep, but burn, electrical abilities. Like those things would make the sandbox a lot more interesting.
Yes.
But I would also argue that here's the problem is now we're pushing heavy onto the RPG side of things, and Bungie wants to keep this game very FPS balanced. How are you going to have these status effects on enemies that die in a couple of seconds, sometimes in a couple of shots, right? How do you make something like paralysis from Monster Hunter World interesting in a game like Destiny, except it has to be interesting against most enemies and not just bosses or even majors, because
I think it'd be okay though if it was just like it's most effective against bosses. Like what
do you remember the stagger?
You save most of your power ammo for bosses.
Right.
Unfortunately at this point. And but that is what's happening. So if you could have a set of weapons where you could, your energy weapon could apply certain status effects onto a boss.
Well, we saw it in D1, Tefty. Remember the end of D1, we had the weapons that increased shank burn.
those were one-off perks, but I see what you're saying.
Those are borderline troll.
That's like so if we were gonna take D1 as baby steps and D2 as like expanding on that successful idea, that's what I'm talking about here. You're creating weapon systems that do more for that activity and that type of weapon, and not just increase damage. That was the first step in D1. Make it more so in D2.
Yeah.
And that energy slot would have been valuable if
it wasn't just colored bullets.
You had that. If it wasn't just colored bullets, right?
And to be clear, I'm totally on board with RPGifying the game even more. I'm just trying to play a little devil's advocate because that is something I see a lot is people asking for more RPG based elements, but it goes back to a question I see a lot. How do you make certain guns better when they already kill in 1 or 2 shots, right? You'd have to make them deal more damage, but then in order to actually feel the effects of higher damage, you would need enemies with higher health. Otherwise, things are just going to feel the same or even easier than they already are for most activities.
Sure.
So that's how I kind of feel about like status effects. Sure, would I love to have like a poison gun, poison a target? Sure, but I realize the way things are right now, you're only going to really feel those effects on larger enemies, and even then, it all depends on how
basically
quickly.
bosses. It's
Yeah.
basically bosses.
Yeah, so I just find it kind of annoying that so much of the element system is in our weapon loadout system, and yet it accounts for such a small
Yeah.
part of gameplay in
Yep.
general.
Nightfall.
That's my point.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nightfall Burn. When I first
Yeah,
played
essentially,
Destiny,
Nightfall.
that's all I got.
when I
on
first
that.
played Destiny, I assumed that those elements actually did things that regular kinetic didn't do,
Mhm.
and I was wrong, obviously.
It was kind of interesting because in D1, Murmur is the best example where there were two different. It's like one of the few times they explored it where it was a arc weapon that would fire faster, less impact. Solar weapon was going to hit harder but charge slower. That's one of the few times
Mhm.
they actually kind of explored the elements having their own identities, so to speak.
Sure.
You know, from the standpoint of a weapon's stats, we have stuff like Zalo and things like that to explore status type things, but stat wise, it would be more interesting if, I don't know, maybe Arc. If you knew if you got a solar version of a weapon, it's like, oh, it's going to hit a little bit harder to enemies too. Arc, it's going to fire a little faster. Just personality is one thing that
To have the
without-
mods simply be an effect of what burn is on the gun almost makes that gun irrelevant.
It does, because every time we're doing the Nightfall, it's like, okay, what are we doing this
just
week?
change the burn on it.
Change the burn on that. Change the burn on my weapons. All right, cool. And
Yeah, so if you the conversation of your 10th better devils, right? Well, it doesn't really matter there's another element where it really didn't matter, because you don't have to have different burns for the different guns, because
You just change it.
Yep.
just change it.
That was one thing I loved about the Jewel of Osiris, is it was finally that solar hand cannon.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
happy to get that. Like complete the triumvirate. God, I
Yep.
love that.
Yeah. Wow.
Dave Security says, shouldn't a Go Faster update have actually increased sprint speed?
You would think.
Yeah, it did not. You walk a little bit faster.
You strafe like a god.
You do strafe pretty fast. That is one question I would like to see answered in one of the next TWABs, is why doesn't mobility affect sprinting? What is the design
since D1?
Right. What is the design choice or decision behind why mobility does not affect sprint speed? That's it. That's just answer that. I genuinely want to know the answer, because so many people equate mobility with being able to sprint faster. No one's walking around, right?
You have this thing that says increases movement speed. Movement is a blanket term for moving. Sprinting is moving, but then
No, it's
anyway.
moving fast.
Increases walking speed, and that just doesn't have the same ring to it, I guess.
No.
Makes you jump
You can
higher.
now
The walk
you
faster
can now
update.
update.
cross
They
the
have
street
answered it.
faster.
Crabman says, would you guys be interested in seeing large maps and vehicles make a comeback in PvP? Love the podcast. Been listening since the beginning at Planet Destiny.
Thank you.
6v6 is going to be a shit show. Get ready. So
They need
these
some large
maps,
maps.
these maps are going to be. I don't know if they're going to like omit certain maps, because certainly some maps
They
are
have to.
smaller and bigger in this game. But I'm glad we're getting 6v6. I thought that. I mean, I like 4v4. I didn't want the whole game to be 4v4. That's why I'm happy that the Rumble came back. I'm happy that 6v6 is on the way. And I think they need to bring back maybe some more D1 maps if they can, like Rusted Lands or whatever. And I think those will kind of help. But I don't know. I think, can they go and do like gigantic maps with vehicles and stuff? I would love to see that. I miss that to some degree. I think toward the ends it got a little stale, but I like having that experience. And especially like Fortnite had the 20v20 mode recently, and I had so much fun in that. Just like that large scale warfare is great, and they did that with Big Team Battle back in the day with Halo. So I don't see why it can't be a part of this franchise going forward.
If they can make it work, great. If they can't make it work or don't want to make it work, I personally will not be too torn up
Right.
about it.
If it's going to hurt the overall quality of the rest of it, absolutely don't do it.
I feel like the vehicles kind of took a back seat in Destiny 2, even more so than Destiny 1.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
vehicles weren't a lot of
They
fun
removed
to me in Destiny
No,
1.
they weren't.
Like coming from Halo, right, where the Warthog is one of my favorite things to drive in video games ever.
Mhm.
And playing with it in PvP was just as fun as in PvE. Like there was no equivalent to that in Destiny 1, and to see him take a step away from vehicles in PvP in Destiny 2 wasn't very surprising to me.
Next.
Austin Sayer says, what is your guys' personal opinion on the direction the Destiny 2 sandbox is going, seeing that the meta is now isn't one-sided as before?
I mean, I think overall like movement speed got pushed in a much better direction. I think I think they're still trying to figure out what they want the game to be in PvP in terms of like time to kill and damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
I do like that there's more options available to me
Mhm.
as far as what weapons to use than, if I wanted to win, it was Uriel's and Antiope.
Well, I think now
Yep.
it's Vigilance Wing and
Yeah.
Well, it is Vigilance Wing and a bunch of other stuff, but it's in addition to that. Like they didn't swap places,
right.
or at least
You
I
can
don't think
still
they did.
use-
They like
Uriel's
they
is
just
still good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uriel's
and
still
Antiope's
good,
still
but a
good.
lot of other things are also good now.
Right.
So I think that's good. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, I think the movement speed changes, movement jumps, speed changes. I think it's all great. It was more than I expected, so that was nice. A lot of the sentiments expressed by Josh Hamrick in that video, I agree with. Embracing things that the players discover, not being afraid to experiment and try things that are crazy. So I hope they expand on that. And the thing keeping me from like really enjoying Destiny 2, at least on the PvP side, is still the weapon system. Personally, if a game is like fundamentally unfair so often in terms of like this guy had power ammo and I didn't, and I died, and I just I spawn in, oh I took 2 steps, I died. There's nothing I could do there. I like games where I can learn from them, and so I can look back at that death and say, oh, I could have done something different there, or oh, I just I made a bad play, GG. This is just so much of just like frustration, because it's like this is just, it's like like I said, it's like a slot machine, and I think everyone needs to be on an equal playing field. I think we need to lean into the type of gameplay experience that Destiny 1 had started, which was unlike any other shooter I've ever played, where you're spawning with powerful weapons, but they all create a different type of flavor. You can express yourself with lots of different play styles, and subclasses are a big part of that. I hope we can get some more subclass depth in the future as well.
Yep.
Real Nice Pete says, what's your take on why Bungie gives us what they think we want as opposed to what we ask for? Development timelines even being understood. This is still getting frustrating.
Why
really
is
wanna
that,
step on that
guys?
Mm,
Well, it's interesting to me. I'm gonna step on it a little bit.
Okay.
It's interesting to me that they had a video where Josh Hamrick is up there noticeably, uncomfortable, saying, "Okay, well, we're just gonna let loose, man. We're gonna get out there and we're gonna break things, right?" And so that got me excited about what the update would be, right? And that resets my expectations for what breaking things means to Bungie, right? Is different than what breaking things means to me.
True.
So I had to reset my expectations, because based on that, I think a lot of people thought that they were gonna uncork the bottle and let the genie out, right? Let's do something crazy. Let's break the bank. Let's do something and we'll fix it later. But it just felt like it was a very conservative sandbox update. It
Yeah.
felt like it felt like it was balanced. I just didn't think they really did what they said they were going to do. It just kind of felt a little.
It didn't
Still
feel
felt
like
safe.
it didn't feel
Felt
like it
safe.
took a lot of risk. It was just like doing some things that the community had actually been asking for a while. So it was like, okay, great.
Yeah,
Let's-
you did.
Please,
Yes.
more of this.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it didn't feel like they really went over. Like, yeah, I don't know. The
agree.
messaging was hard.
I 100% agree. That's why it's like
Conservative.
it felt like something that should have happened a month to 3 months after the launch instead of being 7 months post launch. That's what type of update it felt like. Was like here's an adjustment to the sandbox because we saw some things, but they hyped it up to make it feel like, oh man, it's getting shook. Get ready for all
they
your
did a
weapons to feel
trailer.
different.
They did a hype
Yeah.
trailer for it. That wasn't a sandbox update video, right? Sandbox update videos, developer update videos
Right.
are pretty just bland. They just throw numbers at you. They talk very specifically about what they're thinking. This was like hero moments are back. Boom.
Yeah.
It was.
I think it was a
hype
very
trailer.
well done video. Like
It was a great video.
Of course, everything is
I
always going to
enjoyed
be
it.
visually well done from Bungie. It's Bungie.
Bungie, yeah, Bungie videos are always.
Bungie knows
super
how to
hype.
bring the hype.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It was.
Which might be a bad
It just got me
Yeah,
ready to see more, and I didn't see.
Yeah.
That's the
But like
problem.
you said, yeah, I think if this came out shortly after the game came out with some feedback and stuff, then I think we'd all be really happy to be like, okay, sweet, this is going
Hey.
in a better place that I want it to. But yeah, waiting for so long. Again, it comes down to community waiting super long for stuff. Expectations are high. They can't meet those expectations, and it just keeps happening. It's
Mhm.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I don't know.
Matthew says, so on the day of the patch release, I noticed a lot of original Destiny content creators made their way back to the Destiny directory. Would you agree that this is a sign of how much everyone is rooting for the game's recovery?
Yep.
And do you think Bungie noticed?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
100% Bungie is like,
Maybe to a degree. I don't know how much they care about the Twitch audience in terms of its health. I don't know.
I think they
It
care.
was nice to see everybody back.
I think
But
it
it's
pretty
not gonna
clearly
last.
reflects on the popularity of the game, though, too.
I
Right,
think
the
I think it's a matrix. The metrics that they look at, they have to be. They were at the top of the directory. Like,
There's
And
no
I think-
doubt that popularity in Twitch propels sales for them.
yes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Here's a distinction I want to make, because some people will argue that, well, you know, Twitch success doesn't, or content creation success doesn't necessarily translate to game success. And in some cases that is true, where games that just never caught on to any of these, you know, platforms are still very successful. But when you have a game that's already an established success on, say, Twitch, and then, you know, a sequel comes out in that series, and then the decline is measurable, like going off a cliff. I think that is a microcosm for some degree of the community and the player base. So, yeah, like
Kind
we
of
all
like
said,
that, taking a pulse of your community is by
Right.
just
Mhm.
taking a look at that.
Exactly.
It's a sample, and I agree. I saw a lot of people. You know, I got to play with Lumi and Ambu. You know, that on release day, and it was great. It was great to see people back, and clearly, people want it back. It's just I don't think this update is really changing people's opinions. People that are already playing are just going to keep playing, and they will appreciate this. But people who are like, you know, I didn't enjoy D2, so I'm going to stop until it's reached some point where I enjoy it again. I don't think this is really changing any of that. Not yet.
Yep, agree.
Tony Stone says, given a choice when starting out, would you concentrate on streaming on Mixer or making content for YouTube?
Mixer.
Mixer.
Yeah. YouTube's a
YouTube's
platform.
hard.
YouTube fucking sucks.
YouTube hates you.
It doesn't suck. It's okay. Do you want to compete on YouTube where there's people in the millions, then there's people in the hundreds of thousands, then there's in the 10,000s, then there's the people just like you trying to still get up off the ground? Or would
Never
you rather go
mind
to
that. If you want to get
Mixer-
on a platform that actively gets in your way at every opportunity they can,
Yes.
doesn't serve your videos to people who ask for them, demonetizes your video for no fucking apparent reason.
Yeah, they do some stuff. Or would you rather go to Mixer, which doesn't have a very huge population at all and is doing everything that it can to keep as many people as they possibly can?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry. Like you with streaming, look, streaming can be difficult for people. Like it's hard to keep up energy for some people, like myself, for 8 hours, especially if you're doing that every single day. So it depends on what kind of content you want to create. If you feel like you're better at pre-produced content, then you're going to do YouTube. If you feel like you're better at live content, then you're going to do streaming on Mixer or Twitch or wherever you want to do it. It all depends on what you want to do.
Try them
And
both
I would
out.
say,
I mean, your PlayStation or Xbox basically have the tools like provided on the box to do either one.
Mhm.
So just try them out and see which one makes you happier.
but YouTube is rough.
Mhm.
It is rough to grow on YouTube. It is really, really hard. And it's really hard to grow on Twitch too. And I'm sure it's going to be tough to grow on Mixer to a degree as well. So I would say do the thing that you are going to be more excited for. Don't do the thing that you think is going to end up paying more money in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also,
Because
don't get into content creation thinking that you're going to make a bunch of money in the future.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
do
don't
that.
do
Because
that.
I did Call of Duty YouTube content for 2 years, and I made $100 over 2 years.
That's
Okay.
good stuff, man.
You are
Good, man.
not going to make a lot of money starting out unless you just erupt. So do the thing that you like doing more, not the thing that you think is going to make you more
Yeah.
money in the
I
short
mean,
term.
and Datto, I mean, think about it. Like it's kind of, this podcast is an example of that. We got together we got together through Planet Destiny, but we got together and stayed together because we enjoyed it and we had fun shooting the shit. And and honestly, I could tell you that this group, we would get together every week if there was 5 people watching us or
Mhm.
50 or 500. I enjoy it. It's part of my, what I enjoy doing. And couldn't be stressed more, Datto. Like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's very, very clear to people.
Yep.
And you won't grow. You'll get a group of people that will watch you, but it will never, you'll stay the same. Growth comes because people, feel that they stop by once and they like the chemistry. They like what they like what that you're having fun, and they want to have fun too.
Yeah.
Don't believe the fallacy that it's easy either.
Yeah.
Streaming on Twitch
That's
isn't
not
easy.
easy.
Making YouTube videos isn't easy. At least not to make good ones.
That's right.
Like it takes a
Yeah,
lot of time. A 10-minute video could take you anywhere from an hour to 8 hours to produce, or more.
Yeah, YouTube is like 10% playing video games and then 90% production. It's not the other way
Yep.
around. I mean,
No.
for certain channels, it can be. If you're a streamer and you upload a gameplay or two, every day to your YouTube channel, then yeah, you can just go hire someone to rip a game off of your Twitch page and throw it up, and then you're done. But unless you're one of the 12 people in the world who get to do that and then have a living, you got to figure something else out.
Yeah, no. In most cases, if you're going to do YouTube, it's going to require a lot of creative effort on your part, and that is significantly more challenging than streaming, which is essentially just you're hanging out and playing games. And that's why, if someone's to ask me, should I stream or do YouTube, I'll say I think you should try streaming, and try a platform like Mixer where it's new and they're working really hard to grow a community. You spend a lot if you're doing gameplay YouTube. You're playing games. You're trying to get footage. You're writing scripts. You're trying to come up with ideas. A lot of respect to Datto because this man busts his ass, and I don't think people realize how much work he has to do to something that seems like it's easy until you've actually tried it. So go in with realistic expectations. It's not everyone makes it, and some people that should make it don't, and some people that may not deserve it do make it. That's how life is.
That's true.
It takes
of all careers.
Yep.
yeah, it's a mixture of skill, hard work, and luck. So have that knowledge going in. Chase your dreams, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't stream Destiny for 3 years only. Kappa.
One more thing I'd like to add also is if you do decide to stream on Twitch, the more popular the game is in terms of all the directories, the exponentially less likely you will grow in that directory. So just by sheer numbers. So if you decide that you want to start streaming on Twitch and you start streaming Fortnite and you're wondering why you're not getting that much growth, it's a very simple mathematical, it's right there. The higher it is in the directory, the more people who are juggernauts in terms of the streaming community are going to be in there, and then you're going to get pushed down even farther and farther and farther down there. So be smart about the games that you choose. If you want to
Good
stream,
time to be streaming Destiny 2, to be honest.
yeah, it is. It is a good time to stream Destiny 2, honestly, because
Yeah.
as bigger people decide to move on to other stuff that are in the community, it opens up more doors. And there's a lot of games on Twitch, honestly, that have these communities that exist that are looking for more streamers to watch. And you just have to be okay with the fact that you might not always get to play what you want to play that day if you are going for growth. If you're just streaming for the fun of it, which is what it should be to begin with, then play whatever you want. But as soon as you start saying, why am I not getting any growth? What the hell's going on here? Well, then you need to look at what game you're streaming and consider those metrics.
Yeah. Why am I not growing as a gold League of Legends player who just started streaming 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're playing League of Legends. Overwatch. Why am I not growing as an Overwatch streamer?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's another.
Are you on a pro team? Then yeah.
There's another thing that we talked about as a group here is networking, right? You guys had all come to Planet Destiny with your own groups, right? Your own audience, you're all content creators before you joined Planet Destiny. And then, well, so the point is that when we split off and we did our own thing, we are helping each other as a unit, right? As a close group, right? We help our friends and we do, but it's important to network and it's important to support each other that are like-minded streamers or content creators. I think one of the reasons why we've been able to do the thing we're doing is because we do just that, right? We support each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons the Destiny content creation community thrived, was because there was a communal sense there, which I had never experienced in any of my previous communities. And I think we tried, and I think we succeeded largely in making Destiny greater than the sum of its parts. So I miss that. I miss being a part of that. So I hope we can all see that return one day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
Handsome Dragon says, has this week solidified in your mind that Rumble will be a permanent mode? P.S. I'm with Pope on his idea for the competitive / quick play modes discussed last week. I'm having a blasted Rumble minus some wonky spawns, but am disappointed I can't play for 2 weeks after this.
Rumble should be permanent.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a completely different mode designed for solo play, and I know that they might have concerns about player population, but there's a lot of solo players out there, and if you give them a place to go, if you give them a home, they will support it. And at the very least, just try it out, and you can always change things later.
There's a single, a double, a single playlist, a double playlist, a 4 playlists, and a 6 playlist should be there. I just
want to be able to play Control.
Yes, just give us those.
Just please.
Where is Rift?
I want capture the
Rift.
flag. I
would
want some
love
OBJ
Rift.
type game modes.
I want more OBJ modes. Agreed.
Come on, I'm not
King
a
of the Hill.
slayer. I want a reason to to play with friends and be an objective player. Like they don't.
I love Countdown.
Miss
That's one of the
Rift.
things from Destiny 2 that I unequivocally say this was a great addition to the series. I like Countdown. Let's get some more OBJ modes. Like Pope says, some type of true capture the flag-esque mode, or maybe like a hard point King of the Hill, or something like we
imagine
most are like
King of the Hill
based.
in Rumble. Imagine King of the Hill in Rumble.
That would be crazy.
Wouldn't that be dope? Imagine
Yeah.
a hunter tethering a king. I mean, come on, that would be amazing. A six player Rumble King of the Hill, where the hill rotates every 2 minutes. Come on, it's not that hard.
I'm seeing in chat oddball from Halo. where
Oddball,
you have to
man.
you pick up an OBJ item
Hell
and
yeah.
hold on to it. Oh, oof.
Dude, you'd
Come
have to
on.
decide. You'd have to decide your 3-man team. Do you want a hunter? Do you want a titan? Do you want a warlock? Obviously you're gonna put the warlock with the oddball because
He's the oddball.
never mind. Yeah, because he's the oddball. But sorry, bad joke.
Yeah, and then you could set up so you could throw it
Right.
to teammates and
That's
do
right.
like crazy plays and Titan skating's back, so who knows?
So
what
so
could
this is what
happen.
I would love to see in faction wars is them getting creative for these faction wars. They create these or unique playlists where we can jump in there and experience them. That should be the rotating playlist, not these meat and potato type things.
Rumble should be there all the time.
It really
Yeah,
should.
no,
It really
completely
should.
agree.
Yep.
Agreed.
Vengeance is my name says, what is a standalone game that needs either a sequel or a new installment in the series that doesn't currently have one?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
I would disagree. I feel like that was a good standalone story. It doesn't really need a sequel.
Whoa! Did you finish it?
Yeah.
In the
You're
end?
lying, Briar.
Yeah,
You're lying. I see it.
In the
No, I
end?
finished it. I finished it
Yeah?
on stream.
It's
Uh,
pretty open-ended.
the ending left it wide open for a sequel.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything.
Wide open. You clearly didn't. You didn't finish it.
Or
I
he
don't
just
know,
didn't
man,
remember,
like, they-
which sounds like me.
Silas
Like, they
was
explained what
100% like in cahoots on some stuff, and it was like,
Okay, I don't remember that.
okay, yeah. You
All
see,
right.
you didn't finish it. That was
I
the
did
ending.
finish it.
That was the ending.
Maybe I just didn't care enough.
You were reading chat and not paying attention.
Now we're getting to the
Great
root
story.
of the issue. Yeah, I have no idea, honestly. I don't really play too many single player games nowadays, though. So
Yeah.
Can I get like Monster Hunter World, the additions?
Ultra.
Just give me more monsters. Yeah, Monster Hunter World Universe.
Just put it on PC.
Monster Hunter World Universe Galaxy. Just give me more stuff.
Monster Hunter Super.
Monster Hunter World Super
tournament edition.
Tournament Edition.
You know what? Let's see.
CE.
Tefty's thinking he wants Witcher 4.
No, because we.
You want Bloodborne too, don't you?
Well, we all want Bloodborne too. Come on, that's easy.
Wait, you want a Valve? What's that Valve one?
No, I want
Half-Life.
Battleborn single
Portal
player.
3.
Battleborn.
I mean, Battleborn had single
Battleborn
player.
is fun.
No, a real single player. Come on, campaign.
I like the boss fights in it. It's cool.
I think that the recent Doom was really good.
yes.
Can't wait.
They must be working on it.
They have to,
sequel
right?
To it, but I just loved it. It just old school shooter was back, and I loved it.
Skies of Arcadia is a game I played way back in the Dreamcast days that I loved every bit of it, from the world building to the characters to the graphics to the piracy. I loved every bit of it, and I'd love to see him make another one or remake it for a modern console.
Next.
Blandy McBlanderson says, is there an optimal way to fold a fitted sheet?
Yeah, there's guides on the internet.
Crunch it up into a ball and throw it in the washer. And if you have more than
YouTube,
one bed
I
sheet,
used-
Wait a
a
minute,
YouTube
Datto, do you
tutorial.
fold stuff before you throw it in the washer?
no. That's what I'm saying. The best way to fold it is to not fold it.
So you
I think that's
avoid folding at all costs.
Well, after you wash
saying.
your sheet, right? You just put it back on the bed, so you don't need to. fold
Yeah.
it.
That's
You
what.
Some
never
of
need
us
to
have
fold
more
it.
than
So
one
we do.
pair of sheets.
Yeah, not me.
Why?
No?
Well, you have
Why?
you have your winter set, the flannel ones. You have your cotton ones.
Too
for-
hot.
No,
Just
I don't.
In the summer?
mush them into a ball, and then when you got to break them out, you just wash them. You throw them in the dryer. They get all nice. And
Yeah.
you throw it on the bed.
I also
There you
I put
go.
out too much heat for those flannels. They're way too warm for me. Way too warm.
Yeah, but we also don't live in the freaking Arctic. There's people that there's people
You're
where
in
it's cold.
California,
You're not
the
gonna
most
bro-
like temperature neutral.
It still gets down to 30 degrees in Sacramento.
That is not cold.
That's
you are
very
not
cold, actually.
living in your house at 30 degrees. I'm sorry. You have the heater
All
on.
I'm saying-
You have the heater on
all
to
I'm
like
saying is
65 or
that's not-
67 degrees. And
We are
with flannel
spoiled,
sheets,
Hefty,
hell
in
no.
California.
That is still
We
too
are
warm for me.
spoiled. We are spoiled. to
It
all get
depends
up
on
here.
how how you keep your home temperature though.
Yeah. I'm
You
telling
know?
even at like 67 degrees, it's
Hot.
still too warm for me. I gotta have like a leg
At
out.
least 75.
It is
man.
economically not possible for some people to where they live to keep their home at 67 degrees. So when they sleep, they drop the temperature down. Yeah.
So
dude.
what temperature? Who is there people in chat that drop it like into the 50s at home in the winter?
There is no
I
place on the earth that
Okay.
there's some reason besides I don't have any money that people are keeping their house
It's
warmer
expensive.
than.
That's the reason. Heating costs are. All right, man. If you
There is a way to fold a fitted sheet.
I think we struck the chord
Like
here.
that.
There we go.
Yeah.
A sidetrack.
Available.
Look up the fucking guide.
It's available on YouTube. It's very much arcade knowledge. You probably don't even want to go down that dark path, though. I would just, like Datto said, ball it up and throw it in the closet.
Ball it up, throw it in the closet, and then when you got to break it out, you just wash it again. It's all dusty, and then you throw it in the dryer, and it gets all warm, and you're good.
Yep.
Mr. Goodbye says algebra or geometry?
Algebra what?
Algebra.
Geometry.
geometry.
Algebra.
I'll go with algebra.
Hmm.
I hated geometry.
It's simple.
I like the explanation of the shapes and that you could do with geometry.
Explanation of the shapes you can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You like
Well, it's
the
my
geometric
introduction
So
to-
many
to-
shapes.
Well, no, it was my introduction
Hexagon.
to physics. So I really enjoyed physics. So to me, it started to explain the world around me. You see
Desert-
shapes in everything. So anyway,
That's true. Desert Stormer 33 said, how long is too long in the shower? I'm going to answer this question for my boys who I hope are watching right now. 3 minutes maximum.
3
Max.
minutes.
You know, you want to talk about wasting money. these kids are in the shower for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
I have
I get- I'm into like- I'm
have
into
a
like
Bluetooth
10.
speaker in there. You know, listen to
Right?
the whole
Shower
Shower beer?
podcast. You're just
What about
hanging
shower beer? You
out.
can't drink a
Yeah.
beer in 3
Yeah,
minutes.
what
Come
about
on.
the shower?
Yeah, eat my breakfast. You know, you just make a whole deal
Do
of
it
it.
all
My-
in the shower.
I can't wash the
My
beard in
entire
3
shower
minutes.
process is about 30 minutes. I commit 30 minutes to the showering process, including drying off when
Datto,
I'm.
do you
when
live
I'm
in an
committed.
apartment with heat and hot water included?
I think it's part of my rent.
Acceptable then.
mine is as well, and I take 30-minute showers.
Okay, acceptable.
I'll take 30-minute showers, but you know,
No, I take 30-minute
brush your
showers.
teeth in the shower. Who brushes their teeth in the shower?
As soon
Thank
as
you.
you start
Okay.
paying for other people's showers, you realize 3 minutes max.
Fair enough.
You can't
I
even
just-
get in the shower in 3 minutes.
Man.
Oh, you
It's
can.
gonna take
you
me 3
can.
minutes to get in the shower.
Yeah, what about the warm up?
You know, you got to put the water on. It's got to get warm.
Yeah, you got the
gotta-
heat up process.
It's actually very healthy to take cold showers in them. Very healthy.
I don't want to.
I don't care how healthy it is. I ain't taking a full shower. No thanks.
I can't
My
handle
pores
this.
are going to be giant craters on my skin. That's how hot the water's going to be. I ain't taking a cold shower.
Sir Drumsalot says, a little late, but my 8-year-old son just beat Destiny 2 last weekend and he freaked out with excitement. What was the first game that you played? Oh, it was the first game he played all the way through himself. It got me thinking, do you remember the first game that you beat and got overly excited? His is Metroid.
Mm.
Ocarina
I
of
Remember the
Time.
first game you beat? Ocarina of
First
Time?
game that I beat the whole way through. Yeah, I think so. I think it was for me it was the first Resident Evil when I was 8.
The first
Yeah.
one was Legend of Zelda, the original.
It was pretty exciting. It was very scary at the end. I tell you,
Oh yeah.
it's in the air. No
How
spoilers. but
old were you when you were playing Resident Evil?
I was 8.
Oh, I would have had nightmares like crazy. I can't believe
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
I
that's
thought
spooky.
zombies were gonna get me, but I had one of those beds that had the ladder. So
Oh,
in the
sleep on
first
top,
Resident Evil, zombies couldn't climb upstairs.
Yeah.
So a ladder, I was fine.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell myself. That's fine. They can't climb.
First game was just Mario on the NES, but the first thing I legitimately remember being crazy excited about was killing Ragnaros in WoW. That was the first thing that I actually remember freaking out that we won. I've obviously I've beaten many other games, but I don't remember any sort of reaction as much as I remember killing Rag for the first time.
There's nothing like having 40 people in a Ventrilo channel all screaming at the top of their lungs because
Orange Hammer.
Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah.
The greatest single moment of satisfaction I've had from beating anything in a game was first time we completed Vault of Glass, and because I never played World of Warcraft, any type of MMO game, so like a raid experience was completely new to me, and I was with my friends, and we went in blind, had no idea what to expect. But one of the best parts of VOG was that it was completely different from every other part of Destiny 1. It wasn't a strike, it wasn't patrols, it was new gameplay, new mechanics, and I will never forget that. And all the subsequent first raid clears are all just as exciting. But VOG will always be kind of in my memory for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to like. I think I got super excited for beating Mario on the NES when it first happened. It's tough to remember back. I was pretty young when I started playing Mario.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I played Zelda.
When I was a kid, I
played...
didn't finish anything either.
Oh, really? I finished all my games. All of them I got. I had friends calling me up. My brother's friends who were 10 years older would call me up on how to beat like Kid Icarus or Kid Icarus.
You were there like 6 years old, like, yeah, dude, listen.
Yeah, they're like, they'd call. My parents would be like, "Why is a 16-year-old
like,
wanting to talk to my 6-year-old? This is strange." But I think
you can imagine 6-year-old Tefty stroking his beard.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I was stroking my beard, telling him how to beat Zelda exactly, because there's no internet then, so you're gonna look it up. But I think vividly, my brother would always beat me at Street Fighter. And he was 10 years older. So I'd get like really angry. And then one time I beat him. I don't know if he let me win or something, but I beat him. And that made me like way too excited to have beat my brother at Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo.
I remember playing The Legend of Zelda, and the 7th dungeon had a crack in it. A crack that you had to put a bomb in front of, and I couldn't find that thing to save my life. And my mother came and sat next to me on the couch, and we looked, and then we sat there for the rest of the night and finished that game together. And it's without a doubt the best moment I've ever had finish a game.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Next.
Pesty says, which 80s action hero would you have on your fire team? John McClane, Ripley, Rambo, Dutch, or Johnny Five?
Ripley.
I don't know.
I don't know enough of
Rambo.
these people. Let's pick Rambo because I know who that
Rambo. Rambo's a badass.
Yeah, Rambo.
I'm taking Rambo.
It's Rambo.
No question.
I feel like Rambo's not going to be a
Also-
fun guy to hang out with. I mean,
What?
spend a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
he's gonna
time
get
with the guys
things
in your
done.
fire team. It's
Ripley
kind of a
would
one-note
Get
kind of.
things done.
Ripley would bag on you the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like John McClane's the way to go. Is he can get shit done too, but he's going to be fun to hang out with. He's got the quips. He's got, he's a fun guy. He's a little hungover, but he made it.
I mean, are we talking original Die Hard John McClane, or are we talking like
Original
Die
80s.
Hard?
Yeah, original 80s action hero.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Well, I'm going with Rambo because I don't know the rest. So
Raz says, if you were applying for any job, which member of tonight's podcast would you use as a reference and why? Pope Bear, because he's the only person I know who has a job.
Same.
I was thinking the same thing.
100% Pope.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I write a mean recommendation letter. I can tell you that.
Also, he's probably going to be the best at it. Aside from the fact that he's the only
He
one.
probably
qualified.
has experience doing it.
Yeah. You probably did.
Higher-
You've probably
Because of
done
the whole
it
job
in like the
thing.
past 2 years.
As opposed to never.
Yeah.
I've managed to stay gainfully employed since I was 17 years old.
Rezo Hove says, with the new patch out for Destiny 2, there's obviously one question on everybody's minds. Which Avenger would each member of DCP be? Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. characters all count in the Light of Infinity War meetup. You can't pick your own. I'll hang up and listen.
Oh, what?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna posit that Patrick should be the Hulk because of the rants. Rages.
There you go.
Because the
No, I thought I was gonna be
you can't pick
Hawkeye.
your own.
Like, I just,
No, you cannot pick
You
your
can't
own.
pick your own.
What do you? What is? Oh, god damn it!
We have to pick somebody
Hawkeye
else's.
because nobody can figure out what you're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna go
Why
off
are you
and
here
like
with
do my own
arrows?
thing.
These people are flying and shit.
Yeah.
Watts would be Thor,
Um,
100%. God of Thunder.
Why is that?
Just because.
Oh, okay. Because
Just
why?
Seen Thor's hair? That shit's fabulous.
Yeah.
God, I don't know.
Pope would be Loki.
Loki,
Yeah.
really?
Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Especially if Thor, as my brother, was the one that got all the the looks and the airplay, the airtime and all the good.
I like Loki better.
I would
Datto's Captain America.
Because of the red.
No,
Oh.
he just he's the tactician, the planner and shit.
Because
I'm pre Captain America because I'm a scrawny little nothing, and then I just didn't get accepted into the program.
No, definitely
And then I
not.
never became
No,
Captain
you're
America.
modern day Captain America
I'm just
with like fantastic
getting
Reddit posts, and you're leading the people on Reddit.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take it.
I guess I don't know. Triple is.
I'm Iron Man because he.
No, you
he's
can't
red.
pick yourself. You can't pick.
Because
Yourself.
red.
Wait,
You're not allowed to pick yourself.
how am I? How is that me? How was I myself? What are we talking about?
No, you're not allowed to pick for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right, so
well, I
Datto
already gave you
or
Bruiser, so-
Triple is Bucky. He turns into the Winter Soldier.
Why is that?
I just see
Because
him,
we're
Cool metal
bros
arm,
that live
dude.
down the hall from me.
I see him as a.
We were in a movie together.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
that's
see him
right.
as a
That's
badass.
right. Because we're best friends.
I
No
see
Datto.
him as some people would see him, misunderstand him as a villain, but not understand that he's actually on our side.
That was
as
my
a hero.
Twitter feed.
Mhm.
So, guys, there was someone.
God.
So Steve in chat just gave the best response for Briar.
Mhm.
Briar is Rocket Raccoon.
Oh shit!
Why is
Dig
that?
it. Dig it.
Yeah.
Tefty is Groot. No,
I'll be a tree. I don't mind.
no, it's good. No, there's probably some.
Yeah, then you get to be
Oh,
Vin
who's
Diesel.
the red
Yeah.
guy? Who's the red guy in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Red
Oh,
guy.
Drax.
Oh, the
Yeah, the guy who takes everything super literal.
Drax?
That could also be Patrick.
That could be
That
bad.
is you. It's funny because it hurts and nobody's laughing.
I don't take everything super literally. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, that's perfect. That is so perfect. Oh my god. Tefty is Star Lord. Oh, I could see that.
I can see
Because of
that.
music.
I can see that
Because of
too.
music. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Wilson 309 says you're in a long line for coffee,
Okay.
and you have to fart. You have
Oh.
three options:
I fart.
You cut it
get
loose.
out of the line and fart,
No.
Hell no.
they fuck it and let it go,
Yes.
or blame it on the next guy in line.
Both.
Oh.
No, you don't want to blame it. You want to own it.
Depends here.
You want to have direct eye
exactly.
contact.
If it is one, if it is
And
one
push it
that
out,
people are
make it loud.
like disgusted with, I'll be like, "Hey, sorry, yeah, that was me." But you just gotta let it go.
I like Tefty's. You look at the next person in the line, make eye contact
Just
with
stare at them.
You make sure that your souls know each
How
other's there at the
socially
time.
awkward do you need to be to fart in public and then immediately turn around and say, "It was you"?
You just have to do that look.
Say
You gotta
nothing.
look of like, oh, that's.
There's no
really
talking.
bad.
Okay,
And then
I'm
they
gonna-
assume it's not you because you're just like you look so horrified.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to go ahead and assume that this was like a very audible fart, like it was a very
Sure.
loud fart.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it was. So I figure that just like looking at somebody else and saying it was him is just funny. Like 'cause everybody does know it was me, and I'm acknowledging it was me.
Oh, then everyone will laugh and
Right? Everybody will forget about the fart. Now it's
Yeah.
all about the joke.
I don't think
True.
they forget about the part when they're gasping for breath.
You might be right.
And Briar, I've shared a hotel room with you. I don't think anybody. I could not. I still remember your farts.
As you should.
Wow. Colorful.
For some reason, I lost the name of the person who sent this one in. Apparently, I didn't copy it in. This is the last question of the night. Question for Holtzmann. Your movement speed has increased. Most guns have been buffed, and supers have had some big improvements.
Mhm.
My question is, why are you still playing RUG Delver at the upcoming GP and not Grixis Delver? Keep up the hard work.
I'm playing Rug Delver because I don't want to play Deathrite Shaman. I think the card's bullshit. I don't want to play Guru Mag Angler. I think it's stupid and promotes.
It's been a good podcast, guys. It's been a real good podcast.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you guys coming on,
For
Datto,
the
Triple.
DCC.
Thank you.
Solid podcast.
Yeah, solid.
3 hours too.
Good.
Wow.
Long
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Surprised
saw
we
that was
didn't
coming,
have-
I'm not going to lie.
Surprised we didn't have anyone asking about the job position at Bungie.
We did.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I must have skipped it over. I had to skip over some questions.
I was waiting for it
For
this whole
time,
time.
So,
I think-
Datto, I heard you're employed at Bungie now.
Yeah.
Well, he's been employed this whole time. He just now is.
We're
coming
all
out and
employed.
being
What are you
honest
talking
about
about?
it.
You're
They
getting
created the job posting
401k.
so Datto could finally admit that he's been doing that job.
Yeah.
for the
Well,
past
what's happening is you're getting a check mark next to your shill. You know, we're all shills, and
Yeah.
you get a check mark next to it, verified shill.
Verified.
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah.
Verified on the Bungie forums
Yeah.
that I never visit.
Datto, I know you applied.
Yeah. No, I mean, I applied to just humor myself and everybody else who told me to apply.
What was the job posting for?
It's for the contract gameplay specialist.
Very.
The
Let me
Those
Thing
are
that's
words
been
that
going
don't
around.
mean anything to me.
let me pull up the.
yeah.
Let
To
me
me-
pull up
to
the
me,
thing.
it's
Do you play
something that's
Destiny? Do you want to play Destiny and give feedback?
What's exciting is that it's honestly something that I feel like Bungie should have done a while ago, but it is taking in people, and I'm hoping applying them at an earlier point in the production schedule. Like I understand the what we're talking about as player test realms or servers are awesome, but they're also really late in the game. I feel like players now at this point could be added in a very constructive, confidential way earlier on in the production cycle, and allow
You want me
these
to just
teams
read the
that are
position?
developing, make them giving them access to the developers or to the designers. So yeah.
Yeah, read,
I
read,
fully
read,
support that
read it quick.
because. Oh, go ahead.
Bungie's looking for a dedicated gameplay expert with the ability to playtest and analyze games from a player point of view, and then to communicate clear and constructive feedback to our development teams. Gameplay specialists at Bungie should constantly be thinking about the user experience through weekly reset routines after reaching end game, and should leverage their experience and expertise to offer insights and feedback. This will require a strong desire and excitement to play through Destiny 2's endgame with a small team of skilled players to gain an in-depth feel for the underlying systems in play. Players who meet this rare criteria will need to be able to evaluate and make insightful predictions about the in-game content, and over time give clear objective feedback with an eye towards player sentiment and engagement. The reason I think a lot of people kind of blew up about this is it doesn't really require game design experience. Like the responsibilities are like participate in long form front end, just play Destiny 2 a ton, analyze analyze and assess systems process through gameplay, track and communicate objective feedback and issues with eye towards both in-game specific and game holistic improvements. And the required skills: can you communicate well, work with a small team, have a lot of Destiny 2 experience, nice to have skills. You play a lot of classes, experience leading clans, large social groups, teaching new players to affect. Like there's nothing on here where it's like you must have 5 years of game development. You must have shipped
Right.
a game.
You need to know C++ and other programming languages. Like no, it's very
that's why
accessible.
this particular thing kind of blew up.
Yeah.
Within
And I mean, blew up with content creators,
Uh-huh.
especially just
Specifically.
because like that's what we've been doing for a long time. So everyone just, I know
Assumes,
like
yeah.
the second Joe Blackburn posted on Twitter, I was
Oh,
streaming
yeah.
at the time, and just 3 people instantly just like, did you see about the job? What
What?
is it? So like content creators everywhere just got pummeled with this job application by their audiences. And so, you know, I'm sure a solid amount of content creators applied.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move, and I think a lot of good can come from it. People often bring up the Division's ETF, which is basically community-focused testers, which are selected by the devs. And I don't know if that can be directly applied to Destiny. I don't know, how different Bungie is from Massive in that respect. But I think that it is encouraging that they're looking to integrate people from the community to work on the game. And I think the interesting thing is your community, like the people that really play your game the most, they're basically like a form of render farm, where they're going to find every possible bug, every possible balance issue, everything faster than any of your QA testers are going to be able to do on their own. And while I was at GDC, I was lucky enough to talk to the technical lead on Fortnite Battle Royale, and he told me this. He said that the competitive QA testers that they pay to play all day still do not compare to the insight and perspective that they gain from the most experienced in their community. And they feel much better when they get to work with the community and see the positive responses, and it actually boosts the morale at their company. And moreover, they view their job as simply like making a game that as many people possible enjoy, not just a game that only they want to play. And I think it's valuable to come out of your bubble and get that perspective as much as you can, because I mean, what is the worst that can happen, right? So interested to see where this goes. Hopefully it's just the start of something more.
I'd be stoked if they get a core group in there that has different interests and they can use them as a resource, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
Okay.
So yeah,
That was the last question.
That was it. Yeah, that was last.
My
question.
God, I mean, first of all, thank you, Datto, Triple. You guys are awesome, and you're leaders in this community, and I really appreciate you coming on our show. It's always an honor to have you. It's your insight into your respective areas is, it's priceless. So I really appreciate it.
It's a privilege. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you,
always
guys.
around whenever you need me.
Thank you.
Cool.
Holtz, it's you.
Oh yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Episode 78, I think. Yeah. If you want to find more of me, I am at Holtz_YT on Twitter, where I will be gearing up for the Magic the Gathering tournament. It's coming next weekend. And yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck,
luck.
Patrick.
Been training.
Good luck.
I have been training hard.
You've been
Mhm.
flexing
Lifting
those
cards.
fingers.
Yeah.
Rocky montage training.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. You can find me on YouTube. Just look for Briar Rabbit, or streaming every day on Twitch. Again, Briar Rabbit.
I am Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. Catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. Been doing a lot of variety lately. I'm very excited to see things hopefully get turned around in Destiny, though, because I would personally like to stream a lot of Destiny. I miss that.
Your Far Cry 5 streams are twite.
Thank you. I've been having a lot of fun streaming Far Cry 5. And I have a YouTube channel as well where archives are going up for that stuff.
And I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at Miss 5000 Watts.
Datto.
Hi, I'm Datto. Nice to meet you. YouTube.com/Datto's Destiny, at Twitter at Datto's Destiny, and a stream twitch.tv/Datto sporadically whenever I feel like it.
Triple.
I'm Triplewreck, and you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. All the same name, Triplewreck.
And I highly recommend, if you guys are crawling out of underneath a rock and don't know where to find them, please look at the descriptions. You'll find links to their stuff there, and make sure to give them a follow. This has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear, and you can now find me streaming on Sundays for like 2 hours. It's super fun. I have a good time.
Noise.
On Twitch at Pope Bear. And so Also, thank you so much. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast, we have a YouTube channel, and this is obviously on our Twitch channel, DCP Live. We're putting up Let's Plays of other games, including some Destiny. We're doing an additional podcast. Make sure to catch up on that. It's great to to be unchained and to talk about other games. And you'll find more information about us on Patreon too. So if you feel like supporting us in the content we do, jump onto Patreon. The link is in the description. And there's tons of rewards, from a awesome Discord server to really cool early access to content that you love. So thanks very much for your support.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Get only a credits to roll, and then we'll be back to do
Subs.
shout outs.
Yeah,
Subs?
we're
Yep.
going to do credits. So, yep. We are not done.
We're not
Not-
done. We'll be back. And
We
like,
can go ahead and
Oh,
stop
the audio
recording, though.
version's
We can
done.
stop yeah,
The
stop
audio.
recording audio.
All right, I'm going to do the credits.
So we're still live.
Okay, we're back.
Hi.
We got some.
Hi.
Pope's got some subs he's going to read out.
We're really excited for everybody sharing their love on Twitch. We've got Mr. Good Bites. He's dropped a bunch of bits. Thank you very much. He says, first bits, cheer. He got the first bits. All right, cool.
Noise.
All right, James Marchigal. He just subscribed. Thank you very much. Let's see. Xulmaster Slayer, tier 1. Tenix 26, tier 1. Sheik with a prime sub. Holtzmann with a prime sub. Opium versus RNG with a prime sub. Lemon Grab with a prime sub. Thank you very much. Sofa King Slow with a tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. Zokes 18 with that tier 1. Black Flag CTG. Thank you very much. Would UK 1 Lindy
Would you
with a prime
kindly?
sub? Would you kindly? Thank you. See, I'm told you I'm like horrible at these. Darth Randomness with the sub. Thank you very much. And I swear somebody else will do these next time, because I literally cannot.
I don't know.
It is like
This
a
is pretty
fear.
entertaining.
This is pretty good, honestly.
No, it's entertaining for you. I've got like
Right.
sweat dripping down
Precisely.
my arms right now. I hate it.
Precisely.
I hate it. I am sorry. The Dutchman, thank you very much for that tier 1. You just
got that
subbed.
one.
There you go.
Yeah, see, that was a complicated one. That was all numbers and stuff. It's all
Well,
crazy.
I know him. I know him.
Wait, did
He's
you do all of them already?
Yeah, I think
There has to be more.
there has to be more, but I don't know where to see them on the.
Can you? Is there another page?
It
Recent
should
events.
show everything in Streamlabs. Yeah.
I probably missed a bunch.
If we missed your sub, guys, really apologize. We're still kind of getting up and going on this this
Space
stream,
jumping.
this
Thanks
channel.
for the sub.
Mm-hmm.
Space jumping with a fresh new sub. Thank you.
Thank you, Space Gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys subbed during the podcast, thank you guys very much. Yeah, we were a little bit unprepared for actually giving shout outs. We're going to have to find out a better system.
Yeah.
If you guys have
We were
any
unprepared for getting partnered. That was a surprise.
Yeah, that literally
That
happened
happened.
like what 2 days ago,
Yep.
and we are like,
Yeah.
oh, we weren't expecting to have that happen for another like 2 months. Okay.
Yeah, and
That's
also
pretty awesome.
typically there's a Streamlabs app that's open, and I think all of us usually have that already open, linked to our own account. So having multiple is difficult, and that's why, like, I didn't have it set up. And Pope, yeah, we might have to figure that out for you.
I think it's missed a bunch. We'll do a restart. We'll do something next time for sure.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Who are you rating?
Oh yeah.
Let me see. I think I know somebody.
Yo, Chase Crab, also 7.
Um,
Thank you, Chase Crab.
So Cosmo is currently raiding with somebody, and
Okay.
we can raid them.
Well, that sounds fun.
Cool.
Yeah, let me see if they're still playing with Cosmo here. I believe so. Yeah, here we go. Let's go ahead and raid them. You want me to message? How do you want me to put it in the chat?
Are you logged into the thing?
Yeah.
You just do /raid and then that
/.
/raid space EKUEGAN.
Okay. I'm such a Twitch noob.
Yep.
There it
This
goes.
channel is intended for mature audiences.
It's fine.
Cool.
Oh, Sneaker Freaker also at the very end there with the tier 2 sub.
Sneaker
Yo, thank you very
Freaker.
much.
Thank you,
man.
Sneaker Freaker.
Hey, Stinker.
We'll see you next week, guys, for DCP Live.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for chilling.
All right.
Raid is happening real soon. It's almost
But
there.
when? But when is then? Soon.
It's like right about.
What is soon?
Bye, bye,
Man, is
bye,
now.
bye.
Bye, guys.
Wow.
All right, it's done.